Because of this tornado warning, the area that they're watching is just north of downtown Fort Worth and is crossing 199 shortly. So we changed the radar to show that terminal Doppler radar and exactly where we could potentially see the rotation. I'm going to add in our velocity scan so you can see that it is literally just north of downtown.
Yeah, and what we're looking for here is rotation. So it's a motion towards and away from the radar screen. So green is moving towards the radar, red is moving away, and that's where we get this counterclockwise rotation here. It looks like just west of downtown Fort Worth is where we're seeing that circulation here. It's getting better organized over the last few radar scans, and that's why the National Weather Service went ahead and upgraded this to a tornado warning. So if you live anywhere in Fort Worth, the greater Fort Worth area, and points east, we certainly want you in your tornado safe shelter. That means the lowest floor available, away from exterior walls or windows. Downtown Fort Worth, those office buildings with the glass sides, you certainly want to be away from that. Maybe in an interior stairwell down to a lower level, if at all possible here. Again, it's not a confirmed tornado, but it's a rotation. Now, the National Weather Service and we have the advantage. We can look at several different radar sites to look at rotation in this storm. Obviously, the main radar is down in Benbrook. I should say down in Benbrook, in that direction there. But we've also got terminal Doppler radars at Dallas Love Field, at DFW Airport, and we've got a network of smaller radars, our CASA radar network, that all can give us different views of the storm itself, some better than others as the storm makes its way closer to these various radar sites. But again, there's our couplet. It looks to me right here, where you're seeing red and green together, just west of downtown Fort Worth, would be the primary location, perhaps, of a developing tornado. So that is very close to the downtown Fort Worth area. Again, it is not confirmed. If you're just joining us right now, this is rotation shown by Doppler radar. It is a sign that this storm may be trying to spin up a tornado as it's moving east at roughly 30 miles an hour. And we continue to be dialed into our National Weather Service chat session. In all likelihood, if you live in Fort Worth, anywhere outside of Fort Worth, you've been hearing those outdoor warning sirens going off. Now, initially, they were sounded for large hail. You're likely going to hear those go off again. This time around, it's going to be for the potential of a developing tornado here. If we can, Allie, let's go in for an even closer look here. Really zoom in tight, if you can, to Fort Worth, and we'll show you that we've got a couple of areas, but the one to me that looks most interesting is right here. It is just to the northwest of downtown Fort Worth. That's where we're seeing that red and green couplet there, our counterclockwise circulation. This could be indicating a developing tornado just to the west and northwest of downtown Fort Worth. This looks eerily similar to March of 2000 when we had a tornado in Fort Worth. Let's hope that doesn't repeat itself here, but this is about the same location that we saw that tornado develop over 20 years ago, and the warning was issued. But again, if you are in Fort Worth, anywhere outside of Fort Worth here, especially heading eastbound, you want to make sure that you're in your tornado safe shelter. The idea is you want to put as many walls between you and the danger lurking outside. These high winds that can accompany a storm like this can turn anything that's outside, loose objects, into flying projectiles here. And this is our very latest update. Did you switch that, Allie, or is this the same radar?
That is the same radar, but I want you to know that we have a spotter in that area reporting a rotating wall cloud, an actual lowering with a rotating funnel at this point. And this is just coming into the National Weather Service chat. So we're talking southeast River Oaks area. Specifically, this rotation is moving east of River Oaks Boulevard currently.
Okay, so again, this is again just late breaking here. We do have some train spotters on the ground that are trying to get a better look at this storm. Again, a wall cloud is the isolated lowering of the rain-free base of the storm. Once that wall cloud starts to rotate, that's certainly a sign that this storm is trying to produce a tornado. So a tornado warning now in effect until 5 o'clock this afternoon, not only for the city of Fort Worth, but also a good portion of central Tarrant County. Let's back out momentarily. I want to show folks at home the expanse of this tornado warning. Again, it's all areas outlined in red here, so you're close enough to the warning in Saginaw to consider yourself in it. This includes North Richland Hills, all of the mid-cities, Fort Worth, Forest Hill, Arlington, South Arlington, all in that red polygon, so all in that potential danger zone for the tornado warning here. Again, the storm has slowed down a bit. It's moving now east at roughly 30 miles an hour, so the forward speed has slowed down. We're not seeing the impressive hail core that we were earlier. Allie?
Dan, this video is Weatherford, but we have to get back to our radar immediately. There is a tornado reported on the ground half a mile east of this spotter's position. So this is, he doesn't have his exact position here. So at 2 miles basically northwest of Fort Worth, reported tornado on the ground right now. So I want to zoom back in and get right in. I'm going to put the velocity back on.
Put the other radar, if you would, Allie. Maybe the regular radar that we're accustomed to showing. There you go.
Yeah, you can
he's saying 2 miles west of Fort Worth.
Northwest, which I have a feeling that actually may be a little.
I think we're behind.
Here.
I think if we have a tornado, it's right here where you're seeing this little appendage. There's I-35W. Just north of downtown Fort Worth. I believe that could be close to the Stockyards area, perhaps, but this is the area that we're really zooming into here. The rotation evident on radar here. It looks to be, again, maybe just north of downtown Fort Worth. We don't want anybody to let their guard down. If you're in downtown Fort Worth or the surrounding areas, certainly be in your tornado-safe shelter. We do potentially have a tornado now confirmed with this storm. It is moving east at roughly 30 miles an hour, so heads up here, anywhere from Fort Worth eastward through Haltom City. This is going to be crossing over Loop 820 here, more than likely, in the next 5 minutes or so as it continues to move eastbound. That's a live look right now. Can you tell me where this location is? Somewhere in Tarrant County, okay? So not exactly specific. It would be nice if we could tell where in Tarrant County. Allie, anything from the chat session there?
At this point, the circulation is a little messy, but because of the spotter reporting a tornado on the ground, we continue with this tornado warning, moving east at 30 miles per hour, with basically this tornado located over and in and around Fort Worth, moving due east 30 miles per hour. So I do want to put a storm track on where we see this.
Yeah, I think it's right around that hook here, Allie. I think is where we've got the tornado, which would be literally just to the north or northeast of downtown Fort Worth. So tracking that east at 30 miles an hour would, let's do a storm track one more time if we can, and make it a little bit wider. I don't want anybody to let their guard down. There you go. Put it east at 30. And estimated arrival times here, that would be DFW at 4:55 and Dallas, if it holds together, at 5:24. So certainly, if you live here in Haltom City, in East Fort Worth, this, I believe, right now is the most dangerous area for this potential tornado as it's moving east. It is likely, this is Haltom City right now. That's very, very close to where this circulation is. You can see traffic is the direction we're looking at right here. I'm not concerned about those clouds that we're seeing there, but we're certainly very close to where we could have that tornado on the ground right now, at least according to one spotter in the National Weather Service chat session. Let's go back to radar here, and we'll show you the live radar product one more time. Notice this appendage here. It's a little hook on the southwestern end of the storm. It is literally just south of Haltom City where we're likely seeing this tornado, if it indeed is still on the ground, and it's going to be moving eastward here. So we are just literally north of Interstate 30 here. There's Loop 820. So this is moving generally in an eastward direction towards Loop 820 at a clip of about 30 miles an hour. Allie?
Dan, I do want to also mention we're actually seeing some intensification back behind this cell in parts of Parker County. So we do believe that we could have some large hail developing here in Parker County. This is borderline severe at this point in time. So if you're in around Weatherford and eventually Aledo, Azle, some large hail still going to be an issue there, and we'll likely see new severe thunderstorm warnings issued with those thunderstorms. But of course, our big concern here until 4 o'clock at this point is our tornado warning with that appendage that Dan was talking. This is now moving still due east, moving away from Fort Worth, just south of Haltom, the center of Haltom City. That circulation likely going to move right along Airport Freeway and head to 820 here in the next couple of minutes. The center, that circulation is north of Interstate 30 at this point in time. We're hearing conflicting reports from some folks. It looks like we haven't seen a touchdown at this point. Still very uncertain. So some spotters are saying they saw it, some saying they haven't. Either way, we want you to take this as a tornado on the ground, lowest level of your home, away from windows, away. You want as many walls between you and the outside of your home in this kind of situation, lowest level of your home as well.
Let's keep it right there where you were. Zoom in a little bit more if you would, Allie. So this is a Loop 820 here. That's Interstate 30 down to the south. So we believe right now that if we still have this tornado in progress, and again, unfortunately, we're dealing with a very fluid situation here. We've got some folks on the ground that said they saw the tornado touch down. Other conflicting reports saying, well, we saw a funnel cloud, but we didn't see it reach the ground. That could be just on perspective. Where these observers are on the ground highly impacts what they're seeing. But again, there's that little appendage there. It's now east, it looks like, of downtown Fort Worth. This is moving in the direction here of Loop 820. So there's our intersection of 820 and 30. It looks like it's going to more than likely pass just north of there. That's Airport Freeway there, so Highway 183, Trinity Boulevard off here to the east. So this is the danger zone here. If we are seeing a tornado or a developing tornado, this is the area that it would be impacting here over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Now let's expand the view out a little bit more. This is all torrential rain up to the north here. Cloud to ground lightning, probably some small hail embedded from Haltom City to North Richland Hills to Watauga, east over towards the Colleyville and Bedford areas. The tornado potential is a little bit lower as you head off to the north here. It's the southwestern end, kind of where we're seeing that little appendage that is the most likely place to see this tornado, and it's continuing to move off to the east. Hopefully we'll get additional spotters with a better view of this storm that can confirm what exactly they're seeing right now. We know that we've had a wall cloud that had some rotation associated with it. Wouldn't doubt that there was at least a funnel cloud spotted. Whether or not we saw a tornado touchdown yet or not, there are conflicting reports on that, but the National Weather Service doesn't take any chances based on rotation, based on some of these eyewitness reports. They've gone ahead, erred on the side of caution, and issued this tornado warning that remains in effect for another 30 minutes until 5 o'clock. So that tornado warning includes the city of Fort Worth, North Richland Hills, our mid-cities area, including Euless and Bedford, down through the Arlington area, all in that tornado warning polygon. Now, there are more storms behind that, but we don't see a severe weather threat at this point in time back into Parker County, Willow Park, the Weatherford areas. This is the same storm that dropped the very large hail around Mineral Wells and Weatherford a little earlier this afternoon. So this is our supercell thunderstorm. It certainly has rotation in it, mid-level rotation. We think that mid-level rotation now is developing a little closer to the ground, and again, We now have had a tornado warning issued that will remain in effect until 5 o'clock this afternoon. I'll step out of the way. You can see things are quiet from Dallas eastward. This is just the initial round of storms, these isolated storms that will be capable of producing all modes of severe weather. Behind this round one of storms, so to speak, there'll be a squall line that will likely develop along our very strong cold front. That squall line then will move across a good part of the area as we head through this evening, bringing a second threat of severe weather to additional parts of North Texas. So tornado watch remains in effect until 8 o'clock this evening for much of North Texas. By far, this is our most dangerous storm right now and the one that we are most closely monitoring here. Zoom in one more time to this storm chugging eastward here right along some very, very populated areas in between Interstate 30 to the south, Highway 183 to the north. So it's going to be kind of the heart of the Metroplex here that's going to experience at least the threat of a tornado with this storm. If we can, Allie, let's go ahead and put the Doppler radar rotation on here again and to see how it looks compared to earlier. Earlier, it was starting to look very impressive. We can see now it doesn't look quite as impressive as it did earlier. That tornado warning, though, will remain in effect as this storm moves off to the east. Anything that you can glean from the Weather Service or the chat session there, Allie?
Just from some other spotters that are actually pretty well known in the community. Brief tornado likely with just a brief debris cloud. So it may have dropped and then went right back up at this point in time as it was moving through areas north of Fort Worth. Want you to know a new severe thunderstorm warning being issued for Parker and Tarrant counties until 5 o'clock. And that's for those storms back behind our tornado warned cell. So this large area is capable of 60-mile-an-hour winds and up to quarter-sized hail. So the hail not as large as our original supercell here, but quarters and 60-mile-an-hour winds in areas like Aledo, Willow Park, up into Azle, Lake Worth, Saginaw, as well as even Fort Worth now also in that new warning. So the intense weather is moving out of Fort Worth from our first cell, and we've got this next round coming in capable of damaging winds and up to quarter-sized hail. Yeah, I would just ask in the control room there if you're watching any of the tower cameras to let us know if you see something interesting in one of those camera views. And if so, yeah, there's a look right now. And let's back it up. Downtown Fort Worth. Yeah, it's downtown Fort Worth. And what direction are we looking? East there? Not sure. Okay, so this is what we're looking at from our downtown Fort Worth tower camera right now. Looks to me like we may be looking at the storm to our west. So we've got a storm on the west side of Fort Worth that we're not as concerned about, although that said, we just saw there's now a severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued for that storm. We've also got one that's moving now on the east side of Fort Worth. So let's get back to the radar here and we'll show you the warnings that are in effect. Here's our new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued for Parker County now. That includes Willow Park, the Azle area, West Fort Worth. So for you folks, this is round two. This is the second big storm that's moving through the area. It's producing a tremendous amount of cloud-to-ground lightning in addition to the torrential downpours itself. And our cold front is off to the northwest there, and that's what's going to generate this line of storms that'll be moving through this evening. So this is kind of the initial stage here of our severe weather threat. Let's go in for a closer look again to this tornado-warned storm here. We may have had a brief tornado touchdown with this. Just looking at the radar presentation right now, the rotation on Doppler radar doesn't appear to be as impressive as it was about 10 minutes ago when the warning was first issued. But we don't want you to let your guard down. Still be in your tornado safe shelter here in this tornado warned storm for the Mid-Cities area on down into the Arlington area. Notice they've made this, it looks like a little bit smaller now, the actual tornado polygon. It does include North Richland Hills, Haltom City,
Bedford, you're likely seeing some hail now coming down with this storm. Don't think it's giant hail, but certainly at least quarters to up to $half sized. And this storm continues to move eastward. Here's another perspective here from one of our chasers on the ground. Going west on I-30, they're in Haltom City at this point in time, so they are kind of seeing some clear skies there from their actual vantage point. But we're watching closely now, not only one, but two storms that continue to have the potential of producing severe weather here in the greater Dallas-Fort Worth area. Here's a look back at radar one more time. If you're just joining us right now, we are under a tornado watch until 8 o'clock this evening. That watch likely will be extended a little bit beyond 8 o'clock, especially for our eastern counties. These are our two storms of interest right now. The one that prompted the tornado warning and a severe thunderstorm warning behind it as well. Let's go and look at this storm here. This is our newest warning, the severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect now for the Azle and Eagle Mountain Lake area, back through Willow Park, just east of Weatherford right now. Quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts possible with this storm as it is moving generally in an east-northeastward direction. So that's going to be hitting West Fort Worth yet again here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Ahead of that is our supercell that produced the very large hail up to the size of golf balls around Mineral Wells and Weatherford a little bit earlier this afternoon. So we slide eastward. Let's show that storm here. The tornado warning is still in effect. It was issued based initially on rotation. We had some reports from spotters on the ground that said, yes, we're seeing a rotating wall cloud right now. We got another report of a funnel cloud. Conflicting reports as to whether or not we had a brief tornado touchdown or not. We can tell you, at least based solely on radar right now, it doesn't look quite as impressive as it did about 10 or 15 minutes ago. But the Weather Service is going to continue to ride with this tornado warning here for areas from North Richland Hills through the mid-cities down through North Arlington until 5 o'clock. So again, be in your tornado-safe shelter. That means the lowest floor available, away from exterior walls or windows, a closet, a bathroom. In some houses, that could be your pantry. That's your best interior room. If you've got time to grab a mattress, some heavy blankets, something for head protection, by all means do so. But we continue to watch this storm with great concern as it's moving eastward. It is capable of producing a tornado as it moves to the east. To the west, again, we've got that cluster of severe storms that's prompted a new severe thunderstorm warning for West Fort Worth, for the Azle area, White Settlement, back into eastern Parker County right now. This one is really putting on quite a light show here with frequent cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. More than likely some small hail embedded here. Don't see any indications of the large hail that we were seeing falling earlier with that first storm, but certainly could be quarter size to maybe up to the size of $half with this severe storm that's generally moving off to the east-northeast. Allie?
You know, Dan, the National Weather Service agrees with you with our tornado warned storm. Doesn't look as impressive. So if these trends continue over the next few minutes, they may actually cancel the warning early, which is great news. But the storm is still capable of damaging winds and up to quarter-sized hail, along with that's exactly what we're seeing back behind that tornado warned cell with our severe thunderstorm warning. Gusty winds up to 60 and up to quarter-sized hail remain possible. Now, because areas north of I-20 are getting a second round, flooding will then become an issue here over the next 20 to 30 minutes. So if you're in and around Fort Worth, we do expect that flood threat to actually increase getting into the 5 o'clock hour. Good news, they've canceled that tornado warning. So that is now no longer, at least for now, capable of producing a tornado. Rotation not as impressive, Dan, but we still have outdoor warning sirens going for the damaging wind threat and the hail threat.
Yeah, and it did look like that on the last few radar scans here, that the rotation was weakening. They never want to let the warning expire a little early. They like to see at least 2 or 3 radar scans to confirm that, yes, the rotation looks a little weaker, less organized. They've seen that, and as a result, they've canceled that tornado warning. So that is good news. This could be the next storm of interest here. That's continuing to intensify a little bit as it moves eastward. It's It's affecting eastern Parker County, western and northwestern portions of Tarrant County here with hail and high winds and certainly torrential rain and a lot of lightning here. Doesn't look like there's giant hail associated with this particular storm, but certainly we're seeing some dimes and nickels and quarters coming down with it. And then you see the hail course here, Willow Park, over towards the south end of Eagle Mountain Lake here, south of Azle, is where we're seeing some of the more impressive hail with that particular storm. That was our hail scope there. So one warning has been discontinued. That was the tornado warning. That is good news. We do still have our severe thunderstorm warning. Let's expand the view to show all of North Texas right now. A couple of storms that we're watching here in Cook County. This is kind of a newly developed storm that we'll continue to keep a close eye on here. We do have warnings that stretch from northern Cook County into southern Oklahoma and back to the west. Just a tiny little shower there on the north side of Jacksboro, but that's our strong cold front that is going to continue to push in. So we're likely going to see a line of thunderstorms develop here over the next 1 to 2 hours, and that squall line then will move from northwest to southeast across the area as we head through this evening. And that's going to bring more than likely a more widespread threat of severe weather, likely in the form of damaging wind gusts and some hail, and the possibility of a couple of spin-up tornadoes. But I think our higher tornado potential will occur with these individual storms that are developing ahead of the line of storms itself that hasn't quite taken shape yet, but it will be, again, over the next 1 to 2 hours. And once it does, it will evolve pretty quickly as it moves off to the south and east. So the tornado watch remains in effect for much of the area until 8 o'clock this evening. Fortunately, this storm doesn't look like it's capable of producing a tornado anymore, as it's the rotation associated with it has weakened, but we are still watching the storm behind it that certainly has the potential of producing, at least right now, some hail and some very gusty winds up to 60 miles an hour. And for some folks, this is the second round of intense rain and stormy activity that they've seen now in the last hour. Eastern Parker County and western Tarrant County bearing the brunt of that particular cluster of storms. Allie?
Yeah, a new severe thunderstorm warning will be issued for the activity along Cook and Grayson County lines. That's where our cold front is now approaching, so we're seeing some intensification there. So that's where I'll go next with the radar. So Dan was just talking about these thunderstorms, that there's enough intensification just south of Munster and south of Highway 82 for a new warning being issued. We're expecting damaging winds up to 60 miles an hour, as well as quarter-sized hail potential at this point with this cell. We'll have to keep an eye on it specifically to see if that hail core can get a little bit stronger. But typically along the cold front, as Dan mentioned, it's the damaging wind and hail threat, and that's what we're seeing right now with this cell. That warning will be issued here momentarily. We also will have a new severe warning issued for our thunderstorm in Tarrant County that's moving over DFW Airport, still capable of 1-inch hail, which is quarter-sized hail, and 60-mile-an-hour winds. So the storm that did have a tornado warning on it now still just a severe thunderstorm. So we don't have the rotation, but the damaging winds for sure are moving through Euless and into DFW Airport as we speak. So a couple new severe thunderstorm warnings being issued here momentarily. You'll see that yellow polygon pop up on radar as soon as the National Weather Service issues them. Many areas hearing their outdoor warning sirens. At this point, it is for wind and hail only. If in your area, if you're hearing those outdoor warning sirens, we do not see any significant rotation in these thunderstorms at this point in time. So I just want to zoom out a little bit and just show you the two cells that we're watching, waiting for those thunderstorm warnings. One is right along the Dallas-Tarrant line, and the other is moving out of Montague County and into Cook County right now. So we're waiting for that.
Yeah, I'm just going through some of our email, and we've gotten flooded with emails, so our thanks to folks. And we would encourage you, if you do have some visually compelling photos that you've taken, just looking at one here from David White in Mineral Wells, and then the hail that they saw there was at least the diameter of the bottom of a coffee cup, it looks like. Very large hail that fell there. Some other interesting photos here, and hopefully we're going to try to capture a few of those. But that storm that did produce that very large hail was the one that moved through earlier today in Mineral Wells and Weatherford, dropping that large hail there. So there's a look at our latest radar here. There's the hail video. This was earlier this afternoon as it was coming through the Mineral Wells area. You can see some of those hail chunks about the size of golf balls there, but some of the photos that I saw were even bigger than that. It was very impressive hail. Here's the good news, at least for right now. The hail that's being produced by these storms is not as large. It's generally, we're talking about dimes, nickels, quarters, maybe up to $50, and not the golf balls that we were seeing earlier. That said, it would not surprise me at all if we were to see additional reports of large hail. That's just what we're seeing right now. In fact, as we zoom into this storm here around the Euless area, again, that's the storm that had prompted that tornado warning. I want to caution you here, sometimes these storms cycle. And what we mean by that is the rotation ramps up, it gets more and more organized, more impressive, to the point that we see the potential for a developing tornado, and then it starts to cycle down. Now, this storm appears to me now to try to be in a phase where it's starting to get its act together a little bit again, so we're going to have to keep a very close eye on this as it continues to move eastward here, right along Highway 183. So it's going to be moving through Irving in the next 10 to 15 minutes, and it's going to make a beeline, it looks like, for Dallas and the Park Cities here as we head beyond 5 o'clock this afternoon. So this is the area that's under a severe thunderstorm warning. Right now, based on the current radar, the main impacts are going to be damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour and hail that likely could be up to the size of $50. And if we're seeing that right now, that's the purple colors that you see there just south of Euless there. Euless proper, that's where we're seeing the largest hail associated with this storm. And we're going to continue to keep a close eye on kind of the southwestern appendage of that storm as well to see if that rotation starts to ramp up again. Behind this storm, we've got another severe storm now that is going to be moving into downtown Fort Worth. Once again, you'll be under the gun for some hail and high winds. There's pocket change hail certainly associated with this storm, a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning. In fact, in some cases, we are seeing cloud-to-ground lightning strikes where there is not a drop of rain falling at all. Please keep that in mind. A lot of folks leaving the office right now, getting into their cars. If you hear thunder, you are the potential target for a cloud-to-ground lightning strike, and it may not be raining at all where you're located, and that's what we're seeing here. We've got several cloud-to-ground lightning strikes southwest of Fort Worth without a drop of rain falling at all. So that is certainly dangerous. So 2 severe thunderstorm warnings here in effect for the Metroplex. We've also got an additional severe thunderstorm warning that was issued for Cook County, and this warning extends through much of Cook County and also Grayson County here. Hail and high winds the main threat. Our cold front is just off to the north and west. In fact, mid-afternoon around 3 o'clock, Wichita Falls had winds out of the north gusting to 45 miles an hour with this cold front. So this front is going to generate another line of storms, what we call a squall line, and that squall line is going to impact a lot larger portion of North Texas as we head through this evening. So that's going to bring another severe weather threat as we roll through the evening hours. That strong cold front itself pushing in from the north and the northwest. Denton, you're seeing just some general rain falling right now. No worries there. The activity, though, really starts to intensify as you move south of Denton County into Tarrant County and Dallas County. And there's our hail core right now. Let's zoom in for a closer look at that. That's the largest hail that we're seeing falling from these storms right now. And this is probably at least the size of $50 here, probably about 1.5 inches in diameter, and it's moving right along Highway 183, just south, I should say, of 183 is where we're seeing some of that large hail heading right in the direction of Irving here. So unfortunately, getting into rush hour right now, there's more than likely a lot of folks on the road, although it is spring break. And so that is good news in that there's not as many folks that would be on the roadways if it were not spring break. But again, nevertheless, any traffic that's going to be moving along Highway 183 here between Euless and Irving could encounter the large hail falling with that particular storm itself. Let's put the radar, the rotation back on there, if you would, Allie, and see if it's getting any better organized again. We don't really see that at this point in time, so that's good news, at least for right now, but we'll continue to monitor that. The rotation not as organized or as impressive as it was when we had the tornado warning that was issued earlier. That warning was canceled because the rotation did weaken substantially. But this severe thunderstorm warning is in effect between now and 5:30. It includes all of Dallas, the Park Cities, down to Oak Cliff, and as far north as the Farmers Branch and Carrollton areas, and about as far east as not quite into Mesquite. West Mesquite and West Garland also in this severe thunderstorm warning. And then back behind that, we've got another severe thunderstorm warning that covers much of Fort Worth, including Saginaw and White Settlement into the Lake Worth area here. This one putting on quite a light show. And look at all the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, again, that are occurring with no rain falling at all from roughly downtown Fort Worth down towards the Benbrook area. Be very careful. These are what we call these bolts out of the blue. You may even see breaks in the clouds overhead, and yet cloud-to-ground lightning is striking the ground here in those particular locations. Just got a photo up here. Thank you, Kylie. If we can go to Weather Source 1. I want to show you the size of that hail that fell with that storm in Mineral Wells. Thank you, David White. And that certainly, to me, looks like it's about the same width as the bottom of that coffee cup there. So we are talking about easily about 2.5 inch in diameter hail here. These are likely the size of tennis balls that came from that storm as it pummeled the Mineral Wells area earlier this afternoon. Another photo here. This is from April M. in Weatherford. Notice for perspective, the quarter there, a couple of those hail chunks dwarf the size of that quarter. They look to be the size of golf balls hail, golf ball size hail. With that particular storm, again, that's when it was a little stronger, more intense earlier this afternoon, moving through Parker County and Palo Pinto County. So thank you, Kylie, for those photos there. There's the radar again. Most of us are under a tornado watch until 8 o'clock this evening. That watch includes the potential that we could see a couple of spin-up tornadoes having a temporary issue here, but we'll get that back up and running here if we can, Allie. The radar has gone out temporarily. Maybe go, there you go. So our two severe thunderstorm warnings outlined in yellow here include eastern Parker County, western and northwestern Tarrant County. That's for one storm, and then another storm farther east. That severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 5:30 this evening. Now, good shot here. Let's get our chaser video if we can. That's a live stream. They're driving through some very heavy rain. There we go. Can you tell me the location there?
Waiting on Michael Beard to respond. He was in Haltom City, but I'm not exactly sure where he is right now.
So, you know, that's an idea of what you're going to be dealing with here through the rush hour here in parts of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Torrential rain, really limiting visibility, and you can already see some of the ponding on the roadways there. That particular driver with the flashers on, more than likely driving very slowly due to the conditions there. And a good example of what you're likely to see here on the roadways. I would encourage you, if you're in the office right now, let these storms ride through. Don't get out in the elements like this, because you're not only going to see scenes like this, but you may get pelted with some hail as well. So it's far better to let these storms ride through, whether you're at home or in the office. If you have errands to run, let the storms pass through and then get out on the roadways and venture out. But really not safe to do that right now with two severe storms that are moving through Tarrant and Dallas counties, some very populated areas. Let's get back to the radar. I'd show you this storm here with the largest hail that we're currently detecting. It is moving in the direction of Irving right now. That's the purple colors that you're seeing there. So more than likely we're seeing hail probably at least about 1.5 inches, the size of $50. It could be even larger than that, and it's moving right along Highway 183 here. It's been moving pretty much at a steady easterly direction, and on its current path, it's likely going to be moving right towards the Park Cities here in about the next 20 to 30 minutes. So heads up there, you still have time. If your car's, let's say, out in the street and you got a garage, get it in there very quickly before the storm comes itself. And you can see, is that our hail scoop there that you had brought up?
Dan, I'm putting the velocity because just in the last 1 or 2 scans, this has really started to tighten up here. Hail up to $50 at this point, but also that hail core has intensified, as well as what we're seeing here. Velocity shows winds moving toward and away from the radar. So when we have what we call a couplet, you can actually see here, so pretty much directly over Irving right now along 183 is where we have that pretty strong rotation. I would not be surprised if we get a tornado warning here shortly coming from this thunderstorm.
Very quickly,
It is ramping up quickly.
Yep,
that hail
absolutely
core ramped
right.
up. So this is going to be our major, okay, the National Weather Service agrees. So tornado warning coming for Dallas County, circulation just southeast of Irving. So that's the area that I was talking about. This circulation has really ramped up.
Yep,
and
it
I'm
certainly
going to
is.
put that
Absolutely.
back on
Now, let's
here.
put that back up again. So it's the area right around Irving. There you go. Here's our green and red couplet here. So that's showing counterclockwise rotation right over Irving right now. So we could have a developing tornado once again with this storm. It's getting better organized literally minute by minute here as it's moving eastward. The National Weather Service is going to issue another tornado warning. There, I just saw it go out. Let's back out of here momentarily, if you would, Allie, and show folks at home who's under this tornado warning right now. There's our red polygon, so it includes, no surprise, all of Irving, the Park Cities, down into downtown Dallas. That said, it looks like that this circulation is probably going to move maybe just to the north of downtown Dallas. That said, if you live anywhere in the downtown area, up through the Park Cities, on up into North Dallas, up towards 635, the High 5 area, back to the southwest around Irving, you need to be in your tornado safe shelter. There could be a tornado developing right now, and it's generally moving, looks like just to the north of east, so east northeast, and it's going to be passing from Irving in the direction of Willow Park here. Let's make it a little bit wider, if you would.
Sure.
I want more folks to really take this seriously here with this storm. Look at all the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes out ahead of the storm itself, where there's no rain falling at all. So based on its current movement, east at roughly about 30 miles an hour, that'll put it in Highland Park at 5:08. So you've got 10 minutes now to prepare. Get in your tornado safe shelter there in the Park Cities. Richardson 5:18, Garland 5:24, Rockwall 5:41, and Roy City at 5:54. Lowest floor available, away from exterior walls or windows. If you're in a multi-story building, you want to get down low to the lowest floor that you possibly can. If there's a parking garage underground, make sure that you're there. An interior stairwell is oftentimes a good place as well, a good option in that particular case. But this storm continues to really ramp up here, and our rotation, there's the large hail is falling as well, but there's our green and red couplet. It doesn't look like what we call gate to gate, meaning that the red and green couplet is right immediately together, but no doubt about it, we certainly do have counterclockwise rotation being shown here on Doppler radar just east of Irving proper here, and it is going to be moving across the Ambassador Row area, so that's 35E there, and heading off to the north towards Technology Boulevard as well. So this is kind of the danger zone here where we could be seeing a developing tornado. Allie, anything from the chat session about this particular storm?
At this time, this is still radar indicated rotation. We have sirens are being activated in several areas around Irving. So again, as Dan mentioned, lowest level of your home, away from windows, that's where we want you to be. This is moving in on the order of 30 to 40 miles an hour off to the east-northeast. It appears, this is unconfirmed, but it appears that there is a pronounced funnel cloud on the text dot camera at Mockingbird, Dan.
Yeah, it is straight up 5 o'clock right now. We are going to begin Fox 4 News right now. We're going to get right back to weather coverage here in just a second.
Here for all North Texas. Fox 4 News starts now.
If you've been watching, you know most of North Texas is under a tornado watch in place until 8 o'clock. We're tracking a tornado warning in Dallas with severe thunderstorms as well. Warnings in Dallas County and to the north. You can see the damage already caused by some of this. Going to show you a little bit of Weatherford there. Let's get it right back to Dan 35. And Allie. They're watching this, and we got a tornado warning in Dallas County, so it's serious. Dan?
Yes, Steve, this storm has been kind of cycling, ramping up and ramping back down again. This is the area that we're zoomed in on. Here's downtown Dallas, just off to the east. It's between Irving and Dallas where we're noticing the rotation associated with this particular storm. We just had our latest report from the chat session that someone is at least observing a funnel cloud here. So this is the danger zone that we're zoomed into here. This is between downtown Dallas and Irving. So we're talking about Inwood and Lemon up towards the Webb Chapel vicinity. There's Irving Boulevard kind of on that southern flank there. So anywhere in this West Dallas, East Irving area, we want you to be in your tornado safe shelter. There could be a tornado developing as we speak right now. We are continuing to monitor our National Weather Service chat session very, very closely. Notice we're kind of zoomed into the hook here of the storm itself. So if we are seeing a developing tornado, it's going to be right around this vicinity here. Here's the Trinity River that runs from basically this direction. I'm kind of tracing it there. So there's the Trinity River. Here's 35E. So this is the area that we are most concerned about for a potential tornado. Just northwest of that circulation, we are seeing large hail currently falling here. And it looks like that hail core now is heading up through North Dallas. So as you head up north of the Park Cities, that's where we're likely seeing up to $50 sized hail. I think this is a little bit behind. We're starting to see that hail now overspread areas a little farther east. So it's going to be moving right across the tollway and Central Expressway here. Of course, we're now into rush hour with this storm. There's our tornado warning polygon outlined in red here. That includes all areas from Irving through downtown Dallas, the Park Cities, North Dallas, and about as far to the east as West Mesquite. You are all in this tornado warning polygon. The warning is in effect until 5:30, so we want you in your tornado safe shelter. Depending upon where you are, that could be a different location, lowest floor available, away from exterior walls or windows, a bathroom, a closet, or a pantry. Many times can be your best place. The idea is you want to put as many walls between you and the danger that's lurking outside as possible. So Allie's done a storm track on this. The storm would be in Dallas at 5:05. Garland at 5:24, Rowlett 5:30, Rockwall at 5:41, and Royce City at 5:55. So large hail is showing up where we're seeing these purple colors here, and then it's down to the southwest. Notice this little hook here. That's where we're continuing to monitor very closely for a potential developing tornado. As we head a little farther west, we're going to get back to the storm in just a second, but there are additional severe storms moving through downtown Fort Worth yet again. This one is putting on quite a cloud-to-ground lightning show. Heavy rain. We don't see a tornado threat at this time with this second storm, but more than likely there's some various sizes of hail, dimes, pennies, nickels, maybe up to the size of quarters. It could also be producing 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. It is beginning to really move off to the east, so it looks to me like this one could be bringing some high winds from southeast Fort Worth, perhaps towards the Arlington area. And another warning south of there as well. This is a new warning. Each one of these storms we're going to have to monitor very closely here for all modes potentially of severe weather. So this one is just developing right now. It's west of Cleburne right now where we're seeing some hail falling. Just to the north of Highway 67, that storm is moving off to the east. Let's get back to that Dallas County storm. That one poses the biggest threat at this point in time of a potential tornado. We've not had a confirmed tornado with it yet, but we've had unconfirmed reports perhaps of a funnel cloud that was spotted with this storm. And the most interesting area right now is right between downtown Dallas and the Park Cities. It's that southwest appendage right there that you see. That's where the best organized rotation is associated with this particular storm. Allie?
National Weather Service still says this is radar indicated rotation, Dan, depending on, because of the fast movement of this, they're taking this minute by minute. So they have not even said they're going to actually extend this warning. I have a feeling they're going to, just by looking at the radar presentation. As you mentioned, that hook that we are seeing near Highland Park in the Park Cities, this is moving east-northeast on the order of 30 to 40 miles an hour. The hail core has come down slightly, but at least $50, potentially larger, remains possible with this specific thunderstorm. Any of these storms today, as they pulse up, can produce up to golf ball sized hail. We've already seen that in a few. Our warning will continue for a good portion of Dallas County and will likely get extended. So if you are in Garland, Richardson, Rowlett, up towards Saxe even, Wiley, Murphy, you'll want to pay very close attention to this radar because it is moving so quickly. It's a good idea to get into your severe weather protocol and shelter area now because of the fast movement of this storm. So we are continuing to get many observations from folks in and around North Texas reporting very large hail coming out of these storms. On top of that, Dan, this first cell moved through Tarrant County. We've got this second area as well. So, you know, this is the concrete jungle around the Metroplex. We're likely dealing with a lot of ponding of water on the roadways as we go through the rush hour commute. So that's also going to add another danger in Tarrant County.
And I would want to emphasize yet again to people that may be either at home or at the office right now, stay put where you are, stay in shelter in place where you are right now. You certainly don't want to venture out on the roadways with these kind of storms that are moving through the area. It's going to produce torrential downpours. Embedded within these heavy sheets of rain is going to be hail coming down. And oh, by the way, the potential that we could see a tornado drop from these storms as they move to the east. And the hail with this one is starting to look a little bit more impressive right now. Look at that, literally. And that's how quickly these things are changing. Literally minute by minute, these storms are cycling up and cycling down. And this one is getting stronger here in Fort Worth. This is large hail that's falling just south of downtown Fort Worth, moving over I-35W here, Berry Street, back into southwest Fort Worth, perhaps around the zoo. And we're seeing probably, I would say, at least hail up to the size of $50, maybe a little bit larger where you're seeing some of these purple colors. And notice too, I think there's some pretty strong gusty winds that are flowing out of this storm here down across Interstate 20, down towards Edgecliff Village, the Forest Hill area. I think these are pretty impressive winds that are going to be maybe up to 60 miles an hour in gusts affecting areas south of downtown Fort Worth. So one very strong storm here that we continue to monitor closely. The other one is affecting Dallas County. And again, we're closely watching this one here. There is rotation associated with this storm. Tornado warning continues for downtown Dallas up through the Park Cities, North Dallas, about as far northeast as Richardson, and certainly the White Rock Lake area is within this tornado warning. We don't believe we have a confirmed tornado right now, but this storm could produce one literally at any minute. And for that reason, these folks, these areas, highly populated areas, remain under a tornado warning. It is moving east-northeast at about 30 miles an hour. So that's going to put it in Garland at 518, Rowlett 526, Rockwall at 535, and Roy City at 546. And each time we do one of these storm tracks, don't be too surprised if the time fluctuates a minute or two based on the fact that these storms storms, they change direction, they can slow down, they can speed up a little bit. So based on the current radar, that's the estimated arrival times for those communities there. Again, we had unconfirmed reports perhaps of a funnel cloud that was spotted here. We continue to be dialed into our National Weather Service chat session. Storm chasers, emergency managers, law enforcement are all keeping an eye on this storm, and they feed information into the chat session that we pass on to you as soon as we get it. Let's go ahead. I think we've got a live look right now. Is that one of the chasers that we've got maybe that I'm seeing? Actually, that's a photo that we're putting together. So we'll get that in just a second. But we do have some of our chasers like Justin Cullum and Michael Beard that are on the ground as well that are continuing to watch this storm very closely. But that's our velocity scope, correct, Allie?
It is, and it looks a little bit better than before, but there's still some at least a low and mid-level rotation hanging on with this.
Yeah, and what we're watching here, the green is motion towards the radar, the red is motion away from the radar, so that is indicating some at least mid-level counterclockwise rotation. It's centered right over the Park Cities. We don't believe that it's low-level rotation, so at least at this point in time, based strictly on the radar, we don't think we have a tornado, but we certainly have a storm that is rotating and is trying to produce a tornado, and it's moving eastward here from the Park Cities. It's going to be moving in the direction generally of Garland here and then Rowlett in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So heads up in those locations as well. That tornado warning continues for at least another 20 minutes or so. And then behind that, again, we've got another severe storm that is coming right behind it that's impacting much of Tarrant County. And this one certainly has the more impressive hail in it. There's no question about that. Look at that purple color that you see there between downtown Fort Worth and Forest Hill. This is likely, I would say, at least $half-dollar sized hail, maybe up to the size of golf balls that's coming down with this. And in addition, I think we've got some pretty impressive winds that are advancing to the south and southeast with this storm. So you could be experiencing some very gusty winds from Edgecliff Village to Forest Hill, Everman, Kennedale, soon in these areas as well, and South Arlington. Wind gusts 60 miles an hour, maybe a little bit higher than that. Any word from our chat session, Allie, on winds or wind gusts with this storm? Because it certainly does look like there's the potential for it there.
Well, we haven't had any observations officially, but in and around some of our local airports, 50 to 60 mile an hour range at this point, Dan. I do want you to know that they agree that the circulation we are dealing with in Dallas County is messy again. So this could be another cycling with this storm. It may stay like this for another 15 to 20 minutes and then try to wrap up again. So those off to the east in Rockwall County and southeastern Collin County, be prepared for this cell. As of right now, the rotation doesn't look great, but it could wrap up again.
Yeah, let's go ahead for the time being. Let's zoom out for just a minute or two here to show folks at home what's going on elsewhere outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We've got a smaller severe storm that is just located around the Cleburne area. That's prompted this severe thunderstorm warning for much of Johnson County and western Ellis County. There's the hail core with it. It's located, looks like just north of the lake right now and just west of Cleburne. That's pretty impressive hail there. I think at least the size of $half-dollars, and that hail core looks like it's heading right in the direction of Cleburne here. In fact, you already could be seeing at least some small hail falling around the Cleburne area. I'll step out of the way. That storm is going to be moving in a general direction of Keene and Alvarado in the next 10 to 15 minutes. We have additional storms up to our north as well. Up near the Red River, there's another severe thunderstorm warning that covers Cook County eastward through Grayson County. Now, this one doesn't look as impressive. It's more than likely going to get undercut by the cold front itself, so we're not quite as concerned about these storms here, but certainly up to quarter-sized hail and wind gusts of 50, maybe up to 60 miles an hour from Gainesville, more than likely east of Gainesville now. We're talking Lake Kiowa and Whitesboro, Valley View, eastward to the Sherman-Denison area and Howe as that storm continues to move off to the east. But the ones that we're most concerned about are right now in the heart of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Storm number 1 here, storm number 2 in Tarrant County. The rotation associated with this one in Dallas County has weakened over the last few minutes, and we've seen that trend now literally for the last hour or two. The rotation starts to ramp up, gets more impressive. The Weather Service issues a tornado warning, and then after 10 or 15 minutes, the rotation weakens again, and they allow the warning to expire. But the warning is still in effect for about another 15 minutes here. It'll be interesting to see if they extend that warning farther eastward. That's going to be based literally minute by minute as they continue to watch each radar scan with that particular storm. Large hail is falling now southeast of downtown Fort Worth, in particular right around the Forest Hill area. That's where we're seeing the most impressive returns from our radar here. This is more than likely $quarter to $half sized hail, maybe even a little bit larger than that.
It is, Dan, up to egg size, so up to 2-inch hail just about 5 or 6 minutes ago.
Yep, and it's moving right across the lake there. You can see that. So you folks just north of Kennedale right now, West Arlington, far West Arlington, far East Fort Worth. That's where the most impressive hail is. This is Interstate 30 here. This is Interstate 20 down to the south. So it's in between the two interstates there in far east and southeast Fort Worth that we're seeing potentially up to egg-sized hail falling with this storm. It's also putting on quite a show with several cloud-to-ground lightning strikes there in just the last 5 minutes or so. And the storm itself looks like it's dropping a little bit more towards the east-southeast. So Arlington, South Arlington here is more than likely going to be the next areas impacted by the large hail and damaging wind threat with that particular storm. You notice the severe thunderstorm warning includes much of Tarrant County, but we can tell you if you live north of Fort Worth right now, up towards Saginaw, North Richland Hills into the Keller area, you right now are on the safe side of that storm. Most of the action now is happening from Fort Worth eastward towards Arlington and Grand Prairie down into South Fort Worth that we're seeing some of the large hail there. And we continue to keep an eye on as well the storm, which appears to me the rotation continues to weaken.
They
with
canceled that
and
warning,
they went
Dan.
ahead. There you go. They canceled the tornado warning. So that's good news.
Yeah, that is great news. So the rotation has weakened, but as we saw within the last hour, we had the warning in Tarrant County, rotation weakened. They canceled that warning. Rotation started to increase again. They issued a new one. So this is likely going to cycle here as it continues to head east and northeast. Do want you to know around Cleburne, reports of golf ball sized hail at Cleburne High School. It's the official location there. So multiple reports of golf balls falling.
Yeah, and the hail core there doesn't look quite as impressive as it did just a few minutes ago. That probably fell just a few minutes ago, but this storm has prompted a warning for much of Johnson County now, including Cleburne. And keen to notice once again, all these cloud-to-ground lightning strikes occurring outside of where there's any rain falling at all. So if you hear thunder in your vicinity, you are at risk for a potential lightning strike. And in many cases here in Johnson County, these strikes are happening without a drop of rain falling outside. So please be very mindful of that. Speaking of lightning, this one to the north is even more electrically active here across especially Fort Worth and southern Tarrant County. There's our hail core. And I would say, too, we're seeing at least golf ball sized hail falling where you're seeing some of these purple colors here just southeast of downtown Fort Worth, just east of Forest Hill. And that hail core is going to be moving right in fact, it's already moving into West Arlington as we speak. That's the type of hail that can potentially do some damage. But unfortunately, if you're in Arlington right now, you got to stay inside. No running outside to try to move a car into a garage right now. It's just too dangerous with the lightning that's coming down and the hail that's going to be falling behind it in just a few minutes. So the severe thunderstorm warning for the large hail and potentially damaging wind gusts here in Tarrant County. And we still do have our severe thunderstorm warning here in effect for Dallas County as well. The tornado warning was canceled, so the rotation associated with it weakened substantially enough that the warning was canceled. That's looking from downtown Dallas. We are looking to the northwest. To the east of downtown Dallas at some of the heavy rain coming down with that particular storm. And that's the one that we continue to keep a very close eye on as well, for the storm maybe to start ramping up again and getting more impressive in terms of rotation. But so far, good news, it's holding its own. We're not seeing that organized rotation that we were seeing just about 10 or 15 minutes ago. Allie?
If we could go back to radar, I'd want to point out what we see as a green polygon around these thunderstorms. That's a new flash flood warning that was just issued for parts of Dallas and Tarrant counties. Several inches of rain already fallen. Rain rates are about 2+ inches an hour. So at this point now, flash flooding is another threat that we need to be concerned with in that green polygon area. This flash flood warning goes until 8:15. These storms remain capable of very large hail. We did have, I want to head south for 1 second because just a couple minutes ago, report of baseball-sized hail from a trained spotter in Cleburne, Dan. So we're talking 2.75, 2 3/4 of an inch hail from some of these cells. The ones that don't even look as impressive on radar are now capable of producing that large of hail. Yeah, that's certainly larger than just sometimes the radar presentation is a little deceiving. And so just a first glance at this storm, you wouldn't think that the hail is that large in the storm itself, but we're going to go ahead and go with the reports here that we could be seeing up to baseball-sized hail around the Cleburne area. That's certainly big enough that's going to smash windshields. It's going to smash windows, exterior windows in homes, especially if it's blowing sideways. It's going to do considerable damage to roofs as well. There's an idea of some of the flooding that is going on right now. And what's this location? Haltom City. That's Haltom City there. So we are now under a flash flood warning across much of Tarrant County. Torrential downpours have been coming through here with these storms. And as a result, you can see that particular car looks stalled out on the road there. And the driver was actually just rescued, I'm told, from this vehicle here, a high water rescue, and we're likely going to see more of this over the next couple of hours as many folks, again, I'm going to repeat it one more time, do not go out on the roadways because you're going to get yourself stuck in situations just like that. So if you're at the office, stay there. Let these storms ride off to the east or, out of your particular location, and then perhaps get out in the roads. There's our new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued for this storm here. It's in effect now for much of Rockwall County, northern Kaufman County, southeastern parts of Collin County, and also as far east as southwestern Hunt County. This is for this storm here that continues to move eastward at about 30 to 35 miles an hour. It has been showing signs of rotation. It's been trying to develop a tornado. We've had reports of rotating wall clouds, funnel clouds, possibly a brief tornado touchdown. That is unconfirmed. But for now, large hail and damaging winds, the primary threat with that storm, as it's going to be moving out of northeastern Dallas County into Rockwall County next, and also northern Kaufman County. And again, behind that, we've got additional severe storms, very large hail now falling in Arlington. And we're likely talking about golf ball sized hail, where you're seeing those purple colors there. Cloud to ground lightning strikes, very vivid here with this particular storm. There's the large hail core there that is going to be moving right across the city. Unfortunately, that is likely going to do some damage as it's moving eastward. And then south of there, we've got the storm that's reportedly been producing golf ball to occasionally up to baseball-sized hail around the Cleburne vicinity. Looks like the most impressive part of that storm now is moving just east of Cleburne here. That's where you're seeing the purple colors. And we'll continue to monitor this one as well for signs of rotation. Certainly possible for this one to get rotating. Right now, we don't see any imminent threat, but it's starting to take on the shape and characteristics of something that we're going to have to keep a closer eye on here as this storm is moving eastward, and will likely be affecting western Ellis County as well in the next 15 to 20 minutes. That's why you folks are under a severe thunderstorm warning as well. Most of North Texas remains under a tornado watch until 8 o'clock this evening.
But right now, the biggest threat with these storms is large, damaging hail and wind gusts that could be in excess of 60 miles an hour in some cases. But 1, 2, 3, 4 distinct storms that we continue to monitor here. They're all basically tracking east across most of the area. Sometimes they're moving a little bit north of east, sometimes a little south of east, but in general, they're kind of moving from west to east across the area.
Yeah, we have had some amazing pictures and video. Kylie, can I show that from TCU? This is a great video here. We'll put that up on air. So we did have reports of up to golf balls in and around TCU at times, and that was with this large cell that's now currently in Arlington. So that's that hail core that you were showing on radar, Dan.
Look at this. That's in the streets there. So you've got a few inches of water in the street, and then you've got these golf ball sized hail that's falling and causing these splashes of water. Thank you for Leslie Sanders for sharing that video clip. And unfortunately, that is what's likely going on in Arlington right now, as that pretty ferocious storm continues to move eastward here. You notice we've got several storms that are impacting North Texas. All of these are warned for severe thunderstorms. We also have a flash flood warning in effect now for Tarrant County. We showed you the one vehicle that was stalled out in high water. That involved a high water rescue, and so certainly going to be dangerous travel across the Metroplex for the next couple to few hours. Even once these storms pass through, what they leave behind with, in some cases, several inches of water, if not more, on area roadways is going to continue to cause some perils out there if you're trying to travel. So there's our one storm now centered east of Dallas up towards the Garland area, likely producing some hail. It's moving over Lake Ray Hubbard. We'll continue to monitor this for increased signs of rotation. Right now, the rotation has weakened, but you folks in Rowlett experiencing the worst weather with this particular storm. Likely smaller hail. We're probably talking about pennies, dimes, and nickels falling from this one here, where you're seeing those bright red colors. It's going to be moving right across the lake into Rockwall County. Let's go back to the west into Tarrant County, and we'll show you what's likely. Notice the large hail now moving across Arlington. It may have dropped in size just a little bit, but more than likely you're getting hammered by not only torrential rain, but hail that is falling down in the Arlington area. It could potentially be still up to the size of golf balls here. It is moving eastward in the general direction of Grand Prairie. Looks like the next stop for this intense storm here could also be producing some very strong gusty winds of 50 to 60 miles an hour. And farther south, that's where we're getting some of the more impressive hail sizes coming from the storm. Up to baseball-sized hail fell around the Cleburne area in the last 10 to 15 minutes. And this storm continues to head east across Johnson County, just south of Keene, and hopefully it will continue to pass just south of Alvarado over more rural areas there in Johnson County. It looks like it's moving just to the south of Highway 67, but severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for Cleburne, Keene, Alvarado, Venus, Grandview, and as far east as Midlothian and Maypearl, all of you under that severe thunderstorm warning, for the main threat being very large hail, which we've had reports of up to baseball-sized hail with that particular storm. Back to the Metroplex, again, we still have our severe storms here that are moving eastward across the area. Flash flood warning is in effect now. That's the green outline here, so you folks in all of Fort Worth to Grapevine, the mid-cities, down through Arlington are in that flash flood warning as well. And we've got the additional severe thunderstorm warnings that include much of Dallas County, Rockwall County, also into southern Collin County, northern Kaufman County, and southwestern portions of Hunt County in that severe thunderstorm warning as well. We've got 30 seconds until we start Fox 4 News at 5:30. There's our severe thunderstorm warning that is now in effect for generally Grayson County. It looks like the worst of the storm now has moved out of Cook County. Remember, we've got this strong cold front moving in from the northwest that's going to encourage more storm development over the next few hours. hours here. So we are by far not out of the woods yet. Fox 4 News at 5:30, getting ready to start right now.
Here for all North Texas. Fox 4 News starts now.
Yes, and good evening, everyone. Steve Eager here. Here's a look at the roads as we track the severe weather moving across North Texas. This is video from Bedford. Well, rain is pooling in those intersections. You saw the large hail splashing down at TCU as well. So there's a lot of deep water and a lot of hail. Fox 4's Chief Meteorologist Dan Henry, along with the meteorologist Ali Turiano, tracking the storms. I pitch it back to them, guys.
Yeah, and take a look at the video we just showed you there. High water is definitely a big concern here, and for that reason, we've got a flash flood warning in effect for much of Tarrant County and also northern Dallas County here. That flash flood warning goes in effect, I believe, until 8:30 this evening. We've already had a couple of high water rescues, and we're likely going to continue to see that continuing. At this point in time, there are no tornado warnings in effect, but there are several severe thunderstorm warnings outlined by yellow, including up here in Grayson County, Dallas County, Rockwall County, southwestern Hunt County, northern Kaufman County. Tarrant County continues to be under a severe thunderstorm warning, and we've also got one down to the south that's in effect for Johnson County and western Ellis County. So let's take these one by one. First stop will take you into the Metroplex now. These severe storms have been producing large hail up to the size of golf balls. TCU, the campus there, just southwest of downtown Fort Worth. We showed you the video clip of that giant hail making splashes in several inches of water. Do we have that video clip? Let's show that one more time if we can on Weather Source 1. There it is. Leslie Sanders shared this with us just a few minutes ago. You can see the ponding of the water in the roadway there, TCU campus, and some of the big splashes from that golf ball sized hail raining down from that severe storm. So let's get back to radar. This is the storm that dropped the big hail at TCU. It's now moving through Arlington here. It doesn't look like the hail is quite as impressive as it was there, but certainly I think at least to the size of $50 here. And this one is putting on quite a show with cloud-to-ground lightning. Farther to the east and northeast, this storm now, at least the more intense part, is crossing over Lake Ray Hubbard, just moving into Rockwall County here, more than likely producing pennies, dimes, nickel-sized hail, maybe up to the size of quarters as well. This is the one as well that has prompted a couple of tornado warnings with rotation being shown by Doppler radar. The good news, at least for right now, the rotation in this storm has weakened. That said, we continue to watch this one very closely because certainly the rotation could ramp up again as it continues to move off to the east. Heading south now into Johnson County. This storm's had a history of producing very large hail, golf balls up to the size of baseballs reported by National Weather Service chat session there when it moved through Cleburne. And the largest hail now is falling just south of Highway 67 on the south side of Alvarado and on the east side of Cleburne, so at least in areas that aren't quite as populated now. And this hail is going to be crossing right over I-35W between Alvarado and Grandview over the next 10 to 15 minutes. And that large hail threat will likely be moving into western Ellis County in about the next 15 to 20 minutes as well. So that's why you see the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for places like Midlothian and Maypearl as well. Allie?
A new severe thunderstorm warning will be issued here momentarily, Dan, for parts of southern Tarrant County and Dallas County with our thunderstorms. So that's the one that produced that very large hail over Arlington. So they're extending that into Dallas County, still capable of up to 2-inch hail. So that's hen egg sized hail, very, very large hail, still capable. So while on radar we're not seeing that bright magenta color as much, this storm could still ramp up and produce golf ball or larger hail, at least for the next half hour as it moves into areas like Granbury, Cockrell Hill, and eventually just north of I-20 around parts of Duncanville.
Yeah, let's bring up that photo here if we can real quickly. Very impressive a photo from Abram Sanchez. That's the Supercell, the view from downtown Fort Worth as the storm came through there about 20 or 25 minutes ago. And you can clearly see the mesocyclone, that rotating updraft associated with the storm itself. Very impressive looking storm. Thank you to Abram for sharing that photo with us. There's the radar right now. As Ali said, hail is likely now falling from Arlington to Grand Prairie, right along that Interstate 30 corridor there. Unfortunately, in some cases, this hail is going to cause some damage, likely busting out some windshields and doing some damage to roofs as well. It's going to be moving towards Dallas here over the next 15 to 20 to 25 minutes. And as Ali said, I believe there's going to be a new severe thunderstorm warning that is going to be issued farther downstream here. What you're looking at, as I'm looking at the radar, is one of our cars on the ground there. Look at the hail there. That's Irving. They're getting underneath the shelter there to get protected by the hail itself. And you can see the sheets of rain that are coming down there. This hail, at least in this particular instance, is a little bit smaller. But we've had reports in some cases, believe it or not, up to baseball-sized hail. But looking at some of the chunks there, they're certainly up to the size of $50, along with those torrential downpours. Again, that is Irving. That current shot there of some of the hail coming down with this severe thunderstorm warning in Dallas County. So thank you. Great video shot there. Here's our radar. We've got storms that continue to truck from west. There's our brand new warning now that was just issued. New severe thunderstorm warning that includes much of Dallas County now, all the way down through the Wilmer-Hutchins area, DeSoto, the Joe Pool Lake area. So Cedar Hill, you folks are now under a severe thunderstorm warning. The most intense part of this storm is moving from Arlington through Grand Prairie, right along Interstate 30 here. So I'm telling you, if you're trying to travel in either direction on I-30, highly discouraged to do that. So if you're back here, let's say in Dallas, I would not be heading westward on I-30 into the teeth of this storm here. You're going to get hit by hail that could potentially be up to the size of golf balls in some instances, along with that torrential rain that is going to really bring traffic to a standstill. And not only that, but some of these areas have already been hit by very heavy rain, and they are under a flash flood warning. So there's the flash flood warning outlined in green here. Could be ponding of water on the roadways here, and in some cases worse than that. We've seen time and time again here in North Texas that flash flooding leads to more fatalities than any other weather element. Very, very dangerous, especially with all the concrete and asphalt here. That rain runs off very quickly and can generate some floodwaters in a matter of minutes. But this torrential rain and that severe storm continues to plow eastward from Arlington through Grand Prairie, and it's making a beeline right towards downtown Dallas and the Park Cities. So you folks there are going to be getting hit by another round of very hefty weather in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Severe thunderstorms as well rolling eastward through Rockwall County. That's the most intense part of the storm right now, where we're seeing the hail fall right along. Well, it's actually moving over Lake Ray Hubbard. There's Interstate 30 just south of downtown Rockwall is where we're seeing some of the more intense reports of hail and wind with this particular storm itself. And then farther south, again, we've got that severe thunderstorm that is moving through Johnson County, heading towards Ellis County. And we had reports of up to baseball-sized hail with this storm around the Cleburne area. When it moved through there about 20 minutes or so ago, it is now crossing over Interstate 35W and will be heading, kind of dropping towards the Maypearl area here. So you folks there remain under a severe thunderstorm warning as well. Allie?
I'd like to head back north. Folks along the Red River, we still have our severe thunderstorm warning. Much of Cook County no longer in this warning, and the hail core itself is traveling right along Highway 82, moving due east, heading directly into Sherman. So also the potential of up to golf balls continues here as well. So we're looking at Highway 82 outside of Sherman, south of Pottsboro, where our hail core and lightning continues here. This severe thunderstorm is moving generally due east. So Sherman, Bells, really anyone along Highway 82 northward, that's where some of the larger hail potential is going to be within this thunderstorm. All of these severe thunderstorm warnings that are issued are for damaging winds in excess of 60 to 65 miles an hour and anywhere from $0.50 to up to golf ball sized hail. Just heading back south, specifically with our cell here in Rockwall. National Weather Service has changed their wording ever so slightly. I'm not surprised here for this severe thunderstorm warning. They've added the tornado possible tag. So what does that mean? There's still some weak rotation within this storm, but not enough to issue a tornado warning. We want you to take it as such, however, because we could quickly see something spin up here. And we have a little bit of a notch in this thunderstorm that we're looking at actually in that last radar scan. It's maybe not as prominent as it was, but this is the area we're watching northeast of Heath, south of I-30, where we could have at least some weak rotation within our cell. And this is moving due east very quickly, about 35 to 40 miles an hour now.
A couple of good tower cameras, if you can bring up DFW, the airport tower camera, and also our downtown Dallas, just to give folks a little perspective on what they're looking at. That's our DFW airport tower camera right now. More than likely, there's a ground stop there. I'm not seeing any airplanes landing or taking off in there. And that's a look live there at DFW Airport. Let's go now to downtown Dallas, where the outdoor warning sirens are going off. Now, those warning sirens can be sounded for large hail and damaging winds in addition to the threat of tornadoes. In this case, it's for large hail. That's a look from downtown Dallas right now, and you'll see the flicker of lightning every once in a while. Obviously, some very, very heavy rain, and that rain is going to pick up substantially here in the next 5 to 10 minutes as that storm rolls in from the west. That is obviously looking down to the south there. And you're seeing the lightning flickering as well. So some different views there of what's going on around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Here's a look back at radar right now, and we're talking about torrential rain here. This is easily 2-inch-per-hour rainfall that's coming down around Irving, Grand Prairie, Arlington, Cockrell Hill. That's why I'm saying it's going to pick up substantially here in downtown Dallas in the next 5 to 10 minutes as those red colors converge right over Big D here. In addition to that, more than likely we're still seeing hail falling with this storm. It could potentially be up to the size of golf balls here. We saw the golf ball sized hail as it came across southwest Fort Worth, the TCU campus, about 15 or 20 minutes ago, and it continues to head eastward. So severe thunderstorm warnings continue in effect for much of Dallas County, for mainly now just eastern and southeastern Tarrant County. Although even behind these storms, we're going to have the threat of flooding continuing for at least the next couple of hours as all the runoff continues there, and no doubt there will likely be more high water rescues with motorists that venture into high waters. There's our big storm south of Dallas and Fort Worth that's impacting eastern and southeastern portions of Johnson County. This one has produced up to baseball-sized hail. We don't see any impressive rotation in it for the time being, but it's certainly one that we'll continue to monitor here as it moves just north of Grandview in the direction of Maypearl. And we're still getting a couple of those cloud-to-ground lightning strikes occurring without any rain falling at all. Those bolts out of the blue, certainly a threat to anyone that ventures outside. Let's expand the view here one more time. Again, we continue to be under a tornado watch until 8 o'clock this evening. Much of the area under that watch. Several severe thunderstorm warnings in effect at this hour, but we do not have any tornado warnings presently in effect across the area. The storm that has prompted a couple of tornado warnings continues to move through Rockwall County. The good news is the rotation associated with it is not nearly as impressive as what it was a little bit earlier this afternoon, but we're likely still seeing some hail coming down along with those torrential downpours here in Rockwall County, and this one is going to be moving into Kaufman County in the next 5 to 10 minutes. In fact, it's already more than likely just skirting through northern portions of Kaufman County as we speak. Back west of there, the lightning show continues around downtown Dallas. Look at all the cloud-to-ground lightning activity here. And in addition to that, we've got hail that's embedded within this storm as well. In West Dallas, back into Grand Prairie, up towards the Irving area, these are all areas likely seeing not only the torrential downpours, but the hail coming down with it as well. There's some of the hail video that was just sent to us. Where's this location now, Elaine? Fort Worth. So Andrew Gwynn sharing that hail from Fort Worth a little bit earlier. A little smaller in size there. We're seeing anything from dimes and pennies and nickels all the way up to the size, in some cases, of baseballs, but most of it, fortunately, is a little bit smaller. But when it gets up to the golf ball size or larger, that's when we really start to become worried about damage. So a great video there. Thank you, Elaine. Heavy downpours continue from Arlington eastward through Grand Prairie into the Irving and now into downtown Dallas as we speak. We're seeing some of that heavy weather. Again, if you're at home right now or at work in the office, especially here in downtown Dallas, stay where you are. Stay put. Don't get out and try to venture through this. You don't want any part of this stormy weather. You're far better off staying sheltered in place where you are. Let these storms roll through to the east, and once it tapers off, then venture out. But just know this, that roadways in any direction that you travel are likely to be treacherous with very high water in some cases. That's why we've got the flash flood warning in effect for not only Tarrant County, but also for parts of Dallas County as well. Allie?
We are still getting observations of up to golf ball sized hail, Dan, in parts of Johnson County from that cell that is still moving due east. So these cells, while some of them look like they're not as impressive on radar, they're still producing up to golf balls at this point in time. And that's some major damage if you're out on the roads. So as Dan mentioned, we don't want you out on the roads. And in these types of situations, we see it time and time again. Folks stop underneath the overpasses, and then the folks that are behind them are just basically targets for that hail. And we see windshields broken all the time. So please, if you know someone that's out on the roads, let them know that it's time to get off the roads if possible, and to definitely not stop underneath one of those overpasses if they are stuck under one of these thunderstorms.
Yeah, you know, that's unfortunate. That happens all the time, Allie, and those people behind them become sitting ducks for the weather. I want to toss it over to Steve Eager. He's got a few bits of information to share with us, and then we'll get right back to weather coverage.
Well,
Steve?
we're going to interrupt you only because it's a child abduction. The Amber Alert was just issued, so people want to know, and the information is pretty thin, but a quick break and then back to weather. An Amber Alert just been issued. This is out of Royce City. Wish we had a better description. This is the information we have. As we get more, we'll tell you. The abducted toddler, 2 years old, missing child described only as black, named Jordan Sangbong. The suspect, 38-year-old man named Daddy Sangbong, last seen wearing all black clothing. Police did not specify how the two might be related or when the toddler was last seen. We're hoping to get a lot more information, description, maybe vehicle description, and when we do, we'll pass it along. But a missing 2-year-old tonight. Back in an alley.
Thank you, Steve. We continue to track these severe thunderstorms, several of them that are moving almost due easterly across North Texas here. We've got one that's impacting Rockwall County, one that's impacting Dallas County, another one into southeastern Tarrant County, and finally one in eastern Johnson County and western Ellis County. Let's kind of start here in Rockwall County, and we'll work our way back to the west and then down to the south. This is the one that was at least tornado warned for a time or two earlier this afternoon. Fortunately, the rotation in it has weakened, and so we don't see a threat of a tornado at this point in time. It's likely producing some pocket change hail here around the McClendon-Chisholm area and just west of Union Valley right now. So Rockwall County soon to be moving eastward there into southwestern Hunt County. Back to the southwest, there's the intense storm now that is literally right over downtown Dallas. Tremendous amount of cloud-to-ground lightning activity here, torrential downpours. You're likely seeing at least 2-inch per hour rainfall rates here. So construction zones low-lying areas are going to be highly subject to some flooding here. A flash flood warning is in effect for these areas as well. So this is a second round of very heavy rain moving through waterlogged areas already. And so really concerned about folks trying to venture out on the highways around downtown Dallas and points west. You're going to likely experience some very high water. That's a look at North Dallas right now. Of course, we're looking at some very dark clouds and some very heavy rain. Traffic moving along very slowly there. And there's the airport tower camera. A little sunshine breaking out there now on the west side of these storms. But you notice nothing going on there. There still looks like to me an air stop there. So no traffic coming in. No traffic going out, at least right now, at DFW Airport. There's the radar one more time. We've got very heavy rain that's been basically training across the areas repeatedly here from Arlington to Grand Prairie. There is hail falling with this storm. It may be still up to the size of golf balls in some instances. Most of it is smaller than that, dimes, pennies, nickels, quarters, and half dollars. But occasionally you may see a couple of ice chunks that are the size of up to golf balls there. So that's why the severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for not only eastern Tarrant County, but also for much of Dallas County. And the most impressive storm so far, at least in terms of hail size, is down to our south here. It doesn't look as impressive just based on the radar presentation alone, but we continue to get reports of at least golf ball sized hail with this one in southeastern Johnson County, moving into western Ellis County now. So you folks just north of Grandview, between Grandview and Maypearl, that's the hail core there, really right on the county line. And notice several cloud to ground lightning strikes where no rain is falling at all. So a small, at least an aerial size, severe thunderstorm warning in effect for that more diminutive storm, but still a very potent storm that's producing some very large hail. Allie?
I continue to just monitor our National Weather Service chat. At this point, it's been actually kind of quiet. So we are dealing with tremendous amounts of rain. Flood concern continues to go up across parts of Tarrant and Dallas counties, and any of these severe storms still capable of anywhere from $50 to even a few golf ball sized hail pieces. Here's the big picture once again, and notice to the north, they let that warning expire. The more intense rain and hail is moving up through Denison along Highway 82 and will continue to head into southern Oklahoma here over the next 10 to 15 minutes. So at this point, our Red River counties, nothing severe. All of that severe weather is to the south across far southwestern Hunt County, Rockwall, as well as Dallas County, and then far east, southeastern parts of Tarrant County, where we continue with tremendous amounts of lightning. More than 100 strikes every 5 minutes is what our radar is recording. And then our cell to the south, that is generally from 35W eastward, now moving just north of Maypearl, where that larger hail potential continues to be out there. So general movement with these remains due east at this point in time, which means we're going to have a lot of training. That's one after the other in the same location. So while the severe threat may start to go down for some folks, the flood threat is going to increase with these cells moving one after the other in the same spots.
Speaking of that, Allie, would you go ahead, let's do the 6-hour rainfall. If you can find that product on there, Doppler estimated 6-hour rainfall, and we can show folks where some of the heaviest rain has fallen with these torrential. It's going to take a little bit to populate here, so sorry for the delay here. I can tell you, I was searching through some of our photos in our email, thanks to the many viewers that are sending us photos here. Sarah Carroll in Cleburne, golf ball sized hail. I saw visual evidence of that. And also in Arlington, golf ball sized hail. Got a photo of that from James Callahan. But there you can see the corridor, the heaviest rain that stretches across Tarrant County here into northwestern and western portions of Dallas County, and this coincides very, very closely with the flash flood warning area as well. So all of these areas here are under a flash flood warning for the next couple of hours here. We've had perhaps up to 3 inches of rainfall in some spots. Looks like our little bullseye there right around North Richland Hills, where we've had probably in excess of 3 inches of rain. Let's go back to the radar here to show you where these storms are. They continue to move eastward. This one is now just about out of Tarrant County. So you folks in Tarrant County, just about out of the woods with regard to at least these 2 storms that have moved through here. Severe thunderstorm warnings, though, continue for Dallas County here. Hail could potentially still be up to the size of golf balls. We haven't had any very high wind reports here, but still could see damaging winds of up to 60 miles an hour in some cases. Tremendous amount of cloud-to-ground lightning occurring with this storm, especially downtown Dallas. That's one cluster of impressive lightning strikes. And also as you head east of there towards the Mesquite area, right along Highway 80, we're seeing some very vivid cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. Our most impressive hail is being shown by that purple color that you see there, and that's likely up to the size of golf balls in that very small area about halfway between Dallas and Mesquite, and that large hail will continue heading eastward here. Looking a little bit farther to the east of there into Rockwall County, this storm appears to be kind of losing some of its steam as it moves eastward. That's good news. Still some very heavy rain and likely small hail falling around Heath, McClendon, Chisholm, up towards Union Valley. These areas still remain under severe thunderstorm warnings. Could be up to the size of quarter-size, half-dollar-size hail maybe with these storms. And then farther south of there, we've got the severe storm down in Johnson County moving into western Ellis County. This is a much smaller storm, but you can see the cluster of cloud-to-ground lightning occurring southwest of Maypearl there, where there's no rain falling at all, and we continue to monitor this storm as well. This is the one that's produced up to baseball-sized hail in a couple instances in Cleburne. Most of the hail pictures, though, that I've been seeing from Cleburne are a little smaller than that, but routinely they did see at least golf ball sized hail there. We expand the view here to give you the view of all of North Texas. And we'll show you that there are still some storms to our north as well, moving through Grayson County into northwestern Fannin County right now. There's the hail associated with that particular one, just northeast of Sherman right now, basically right on the Red River. But west of there, there's nothing going on right now. Things are very, very quiet. I believe these areas are more than likely behind our cold front, and so the air cools off substantially, and we're going to see some very windy conditions as well with this cold front. We're going to see winds gusting in excess more than likely of 40 miles an hour with that strong cold front itself. Allie?
So a new warning has been issued, Dan. You'll see that new polygon, and it contains a large portion of Ellis County at this point in time. So this is for the damaging wind threat and hail up to golf ball sized. Winds, again, could be up to 60 miles an hour. I'm getting a little more concerned with seeing that notch here, Dan, on this cell as it approaches the Ellis line. So that's what I'm pointing at right now. I'm going to add our velocity product on, which shows the winds moving toward and away from the radar, and this seems to be trying to get its act together. So very, very strong winds coming out of this as it moves right along the Ellis and Johnson line, excuse me. So this, I have a feeling tornado threat is increasing very quickly. So those in and around Maypearl, we want you to be prepared to seek shelter here in a matter of minutes. This is moving fast off to the east, anywhere from 30 to 40 miles an hour. So while this is just a severe thunderstorm warning, I'm going to just call it and say I want you in your tornado safe shelter at this point in time, lowest floor of your home. home, away from windows. You want as many walls between you and the outside of your home. If you are in a mobile home park, many of them do have shelters designated in the community. If not, we want you to hunker down at this point in time because of how fast this thunderstorm is moving. So becoming more and more concerned with this specific area right now as this cell moves out of Johnson County right along the Johnson-Ellis line. So that's FM 916. That we're looking at, so that area of rotation quickly heading into Ellis County, Dan.
Yeah, and that is definitely one to keep a close eye on. If you can, just briefly go to Weather 1. Allie, I want to show you that we've got this strong cold front that continues to push in from the north and west. Look at temperatures behind it, 39 in Oklahoma City, 34 in Amarillo. There's actually some snow falling right now in northwestern portions of Oklahoma. And if you advance it one more time, we'll show you temperatures around the Dallas-Fort Worth area and all of North Texas. We're in the 60s here, but it drops quickly. 51 in Wichita Falls, 59 at Bowie. So this front will continue to be the catalyst for more strong to severe thunderstorms this evening. And then once it blows through, our severe weather threat pretty much ends, and then we'll see the cool, gusty winds. But as Allie mentioned, we continue to watch that storm there moving through Ellis County, and additional severe thunderstorms with large hail being the primary threat here in Dallas County. We're going to take another very close look at Doppler radar, continue our severe storm coverage right after this.
Here for all North Texas, Fox 4 News starts now.
Hello, I'm Steve Eager in the Fox 4 studios. This is video of the dark clouds that covered downtown Fort Worth about an hour ago. Most of North Texas remains under tornado watch. Some counties are under a severe thunderstorm warning, and there have been a few tornado warnings issued and then been allowed to expire or been recalled. No confirmed tornadoes to this point. Let's get you right back to Fox 4 Chief Meteorologist Dan Henry and meteorologist Ali Toriano. Dan.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. We've had certainly at times storms that looked like they wanted to produce tornadoes with strong rotation being detected on radar. We've also had visual sightings of rotating wall clouds and funnel clouds. Not sure if we had a brief tornado touchdown or not, but what we can tell you right now, there are no tornado warnings in effect, and we've got the severe thunderstorm warnings, though, that continue, most notably here for Dallas County and for Ellis County as well. There's our Dallas County storm. It is still producing some large hail, in some cases up to the size of golf balls. I think the largest hail right now is likely coming down around the greater Mesquite area, where you're seeing some of the really dark red colors and some of the purple colors here. There, right below the Highway 80 sign there, the highway sign, that's where we're seeing some of the more impressive hail, and that looks like it's going to be moving towards Mesquite here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Farther south down towards Hutchins, very heavy rain, frequent cloud-to-ground lightning. Torrential downpours continue around downtown Dallas, so while there might not be very large hail falling, there is water continuing to build up on the roadways here, and that is likely going to produce additional high water. And there you go. There's a look from our downtown Dallas tower camera right now at those very heavy downpours. Flash flood, look at it. You can look closely down there. You can kind of see some of the splashing there on 35 as those big trucks move very slowly along, and that's going to continue to be a big concern for the next couple of hours. Flash flooding here in both Dallas and Tarrant counties. There's the outline from green here: Grand Prairie, Irving, Dallas, North Dallas, the Park Cities, Farmers Branch, Carrollton, Grapevine, Southlake, Keller, White Settlement, Fort Worth, all continue to be under a flash flood warning. So even though the heaviest activity has pushed off to our east, there's still a lot of standing water. And you notice we're starting to get some additional development here. This is our cold front. This is the front that's just now beginning to move into Fort Worth, and that is kicking off, looks like, one more round of some showers and thunderstorms, and that's why you're seeing some of these new echoes here appear on radar. That's that cold front undercutting the warm air ahead of it, and it's going to produce some additional shower and thunderstorm activity. Farther down to the south into Ellis County, We've got hail that's likely falling around the Maypearl area here. Doesn't look like it's as impressive as it was a little earlier this afternoon when Cleburne got bombarded with golf ball sized hail and perhaps in a couple instances up to baseball sized hail. But this storm continues to truck along here. And as Ali mentioned, we continue to watch this storm for potential developing rotation. That is still a possibility that it could get better organized and lead to something that could produce a tornado. But we don't see a threat of that, at least as of right now. Certainly it's producing some very heavy rain along with some hail as well, especially around the Maypearl area. Allie?
So I'm going to change over our radar here momentarily. Want to show you our red shaded polygons. That's our tornado watch. Noticed northwestern counties no longer in the tornado watch. The reason being, cold front has already moved through your area. So once that wind shift is out of the north, cold front has moved through, your severe threat is finished for the day. Now in yellow, our polygons, those remain our severe thunderstorm warnings. We have 2 in effect, one for Dallas and parts of Tarrant County, and then our Ellis County warning as well. In green is our flash flood warning. That goes until 8:15 for Dallas and Tarrant counties because we still have so much rain falling in those areas. Already several inches of rain has fallen in that part of the Metroplex.
Yeah, we show Doppler rainfall estimates, and I think at least 3, maybe up to 4 inches of rain in spots in the Metroplex, and that's what led to that flash flood warning being issued. That is downtown Dallas that you're looking there, the right-hand portion of your screen, and certainly this particular road just near the downtown Dallas area, not in bad shape there. Traffic is moving along quite nicely, as a matter of fact, but believe me, there are other areas, especially the construction zones, that are highly prone to flooding with these heavy downpours that are moving through parts of the area. There's radar right now. Again, we've got the severe thunderstorm warning that continues now primarily for Dallas County, but you notice there's new development now that is occurring right around the Colleyville area, South Lake, Grapevine. That is the actual cold front itself. That cold front is going to generate one more round of showers and thunderstorms as it moves off to the south and east. But once the front moves through and those winds turn to the north, you'll feel it. Temperatures are going to drop very quickly into the 50s. That will pretty much end the threat of severe weather. But until that front clears the entire area, we will not be done with severe weather. And so that threat is going to persist very late into this evening, especially for our far eastern and southeastern counties where that front will be the last to move through. Torrential rain, some hail falling now, eastern Dallas County into Rockwall County, far northwestern Kaufman County, from Mesquite to Forney to Heath. Lightning also putting on quite a show here as well. These storms have produced some tremendous cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. Some of the more impressive hail looks like it's falling right around the Mesquite area right now. It could be $half size or a little bit larger in some cases. When we start to see some of those purple colors, that's usually indicative of some very large hail. We're not seeing that at this particular time. Some more storms back to the southwest of there around the Duncanville area, Cockrell Hill, moving into Oak Cliff. There's more than likely hail falling here as well, where you're seeing those very dark red and purple colors. Could potentially be at least $half sized hail in some of that. And then heading farther to the south into Johnson and Ellis counties, this storm is actually now pushed completely out of Johnson County. It extends from Maypearl to Waxahachie. If we are seeing hail, it's likely falling in the kind of the western and southwestern portion of the storm here from Maypearl and just east of there, where we're seeing some of those really bright red colors and purple colors. $half sized hail or larger is possible. Haven't had reports of damaging wind gusts, but no question there's going to be potential for wind gusts at least in excess of 50 miles an hour. There's a new warning now that was just issued, and that stretches eastward. I'll let you talk about that, Allie.
Yeah, so our new thunderstorm warning is for up to $50 hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. It includes several areas, far eastern parts of Dallas County, as well as Kaufman, Hunt, Rockwall, and Van Zant counties. It goes until 6:45. So this is just a progression from the National Weather Service as this moves east at about 30 to 40 miles an hour. Still capable of large hail, not as large as before, so that is good news, but up to $50 and 60-mile-an-hour gusts in some of these little pockets that we have. Now, a lot of this is just north of I-20, moving out of Mesquite, heading into Forney, right along Highway 80 at this point in time. And then back behind that, I'd say probably a little bit larger hail potential remains a factor here between Cockrell Hill and Duncanville, Dan.
Yeah, real quickly, look at the temperature difference right now as we just briefly go to Weather Source 1. It is 83 at this hour at Comanche, 80 in Stephenville and Granbury. That is just ahead of the cold front. And then temperatures drop 25 to 30 degrees behind the front. It's 56 now in Bowie, 57 in Bridgeport. So as soon as that front moves through your area, winds will turn to the north. They'll likely gust, I think, at least to 35, 40 miles an hour. The good news is that cooler, more stable air will end the severe weather threat pretty quickly once it does pass through. But as long as you're along or ahead of that cold front, which many areas still are, we're going to see the potential of severe weather this evening. Here's a look at radar one more time. Again, the tornado watch continues until 8 o'clock this evening. No word if that watch will be extended beyond that. There are no tornado warnings in effect right now. These are all severe thunderstorm warnings outlined in yellow. That includes Dallas County, Rockwall County, parts of southern portions of Hunt County, the northern half of Kaufman County, and much of Ellis County. Let's zoom into some of the more impressive areas. Looks like this one here just southwest of downtown Dallas, where we're getting some of the higher radar returns here, where you're seeing those purple colors. That's South Oak Cliff, likely seeing some large hail falling right now where those purple colors are being detected. Let's go in for a closer look there. It's just south of South Oak Cliff right now, where we're seeing around Keys Boulevard some of the higher radar returns. This is likely at least $50 sized hail, maybe a little bit larger than that, crossing over I-35E and heading towards Interstate 45 in the next few minutes into southeast Dallas. Let's expand the view a little bit. Let's move a little farther to the east. We'll head into Forney, where we're seeing torrential downpours. The hail size here doesn't look quite as impressive, but I think at least up to the size of $50 here around Forney itself, down towards Interstate 20. Quite a bit of cloud-to-ground lightning activity going on there as well. Very heavy rain continuing north of there through much of Rockwall County. We're not seeing any signs of rotation at this point in time with these storms, so that's good news. Just as some torrential downpours moving over towards southwestern Hunt County right now around the Union Valley area. This will be pushing into Quinlan in the next few minutes. And farther south we take you down into Ellis County, where we still have a pretty intense storm that is going to be moving across south of Waxahachie, crossing over Interstate 35E. There's our hail core, currently just east of Maypearl right now, where we're likely seeing dimes, nickels, quarters, some $50 in some cases here. Again, this is the same storm that produced golf ball size or larger hail as it moved across the Cleburne area. It's dropping a little bit more east-southeastward here with time, so kind of heading in the general direction here of Bardwell and the lake. Probably in the next, I'd give it probably about 20-25 minutes or so till it reaches Bardwell and with the severe weather threat there. But there is a severe thunderstorm warning that covers much of Ellis County and far northern portions of Navarro County, just to the northwest of Corsicana. And this severe weather threat will continue to spread to the east and the southeast. So you folks out towards Canton, down towards the Athens area, Kearns, Frankston, where you haven't seen much in the way of any severe weather yet, your severe weather threat will be coming as we head through this evening, kind of right on par with the timeline that we've been discussing here the last couple of days in North Texas. Good news, the activity going on across our Red River counties is subsevere. That's just some rain coming down right now around the Bonham area. There are severe thunderstorm warnings, though, just north of the Red River in far southern Oklahoma that continue in those parts. Allie?
So all is relatively quiet in the National Weather Service chat, Dan. So these continue to spread generally due east about 30 to 40 miles an hour. A lot of these cells still capable of $half, a few golf balls not out of the question in some of these larger hail cores. We've seen our thunderstorms ramp up a little bit along the cold front from outside of Carrollton to Euless, North Richland Hills. So keep in mind, this is an area that is still under a flash flood warning where we've had several inches of rain from our severe storms earlier, and we're now dealing with another round on top of that. While this is not severe, it's still a lot of water being added to our roadways and poor drainage areas. So the flood threat will continue across a good portion of Tarrant County. If you are in Saginaw around Eagle Mountain Lake and points northwest, the front has already moved through your area, so your severe threat is finished for the day. If you're out ahead of our cold front, we will continue with that severe threat. Notice the southern extent of our thunderstorms, our line here. So here's our front. We haven't seen any more thunderstorm development along it just yet, but we can't rule out more activity to develop across parts of Johnson as well as Hood counties as this still moves off to the east and southeast. Here's our big picture once again, with several of these storms producing tremendous amounts of lightning. We're talking hundreds of strikes every 5 minutes. Some of the larger hail cores continue across central parts of Dallas County, downtown Dallas, south into Oak Cliff, right along I-35 at this point in time. $half likely still continuing here as this lifts and moves eastward towards Interstate 45 over the next couple of minutes. This still moving quickly to the east, 30 to 40 miles an hour. We've seen the hail size a little bit smaller into parts of northern Kaufman, Rockwall, and southwestern Hunt counties, but still at least quarters remain possible in this area, along with the excessive lightning and torrential rain. Any of these storms could still produce wind gusts on the order of 50 to 60 miles an hour as they head east. And then we'll head back southward with our cell that's still going strong. Seems to be moving a little bit slower than the storms to the north. While there's really not as much rotation in this anymore, still capable of large hail up to $half, a few golf balls not out of the question. A lot of that is moving over I-35E now just south of Waxahachie. This will continue to head east and spread across Highway 287 in the next few minutes. So anyone from Bardwell north to Ennis, that's where we expect some of the heavier rain, lightning, and larger hail potential.
I was just circulating through some of our photos there through our email, and did see a photo of a wall that had collapsed. We're not talking about a wall in a home, but one of those brick walls in the Ridgely Hills area of Fort Worth, and also some water that had gotten high enough to enter a home in Haltom City. So that flooding will continue to be a concern here. So here's the severe storms ahead of our cold front that are affecting Rockwall County, northern Kaufman County, into southern Hunt County. The greatest potential here of large hail, also some damaging wind gusts. The front itself, the cold front, is now generating a final line of storms. You see that setting up right here from roughly Fort Worth up towards the Grapevine area and Coppell. That's the cold front itself that is likely going to generate one more line of showers and thunderstorms that'll move across the area. The good news is once that front moves through, temperatures are going to drop like a rock, and the winds will pick up, probably gust easily 35 to 40 miles an hour out of the north, and that will pretty much end the severe weather threat. So the severe weather threat behind the front is over with as you head up towards Jacksboro and Decatur, out towards Mineral Wells and the Weatherford area. You're done. But until this front moves through, we still have at least a few more hours of strong to severe thunderstorm activity to contend with. Let's take a look here, a little closer look into this storm around the Forney area. Notice there is some large hail now falling just south and southwest of Forney, where you're seeing some of those purple colors, some of the bright red colors. This could potentially be, I think, at least $half size maybe a little bit larger than that, maybe up to the size of ping pong balls here, just south of Highway 80 and just south of Forney itself. Quite a cloud to ground lightning show. I also noticed up here, Allie, if you can slide up a little farther to the north, there appeared to be some more hail falling up around the Quinlan area. Yeah, some hail here, more than likely in southern Hunt County. Not quite as large, but could be up to the size of $half here. That's far southern Hunt County. Let's slide a little bit farther to the west and south here. It will show you additional severe thunderstorms back into Dallas County. You notice it's all now south of downtown, this particular storm here, South Oak Cliff, southeast Dallas, just north of Hutchins right now. We are seeing some hail embedded within these torrential downpours. It's likely dimes, nickels, quarters, pennies coming down from this particular part of the storm itself. A little farther to the north and west, again, that's the band of thunderstorms that's developing along the line, along the cold front itself. That stretches from Carrollton through Euless back into downtown Fort Worth. So that is kind of the leading edge of that really strong, cold push of air that's going to drop our temperatures tonight, and winds will be picking up as well. And let's slide down to the south of the Metroplex, where we still have that storm in progress moving south of Waxahachie here. Doesn't look like we're seeing the impressive hail core that we were a little bit earlier as it was moving through Johnson County, but there still is likely at least up to quarter-sized hail, maybe a little bit larger than that, falling south of Waxahachie. This is going to be heading right over the Bardwell area here over the next 15 to 20 minutes or so, and that's why we've got the severe thunderstorm warning in effect there. We continue to have that tornado watch in effect from roughly Dallas and Fort Worth to the east and southeast. That goes until 8 o'clock this evening. We've not seen any signs of significant rotation, at least in the last hour or so. Elaine, if you could repeat that, I'm sorry. That is westbound I-30 in Dallas. So in that particular part, we're in between storms here. So we just had those heavy-duty storms rumble through this area. There's going to be one more band that's quickly going to be approaching from the north and west with the cold front itself. So that's a temporary clearing that you're seeing there looking westward, but you notice out in the distance, it gets dark again. That's the band of thunderstorms along the cold front that is going to be moving through pretty quickly. The good news is, at least as of this point in time, that band that's developing right along the cold front itself is not severe in nature, but that could change with time here as it moves farther to the south and east. But there are flash flood warnings that remain in effect for Fort Worth, the mid-cities, all the way eastward through Dallas, into North Dallas, the Farmers Branch, Carrollton area, Irving, Grand Prairie, all those areas under flash flood warnings. That will continue through 8:30 this evening. Still have very torrential downpours that are going on now across Rockwall County that are moving eastward through the Terrell area. Quite a bit of cloud-to-ground lightning activity with this as well. These storms continue to rumble off to the east and the southeast. Allie?
So, Dan, as you mentioned, our tornado watch, I do want to show that again because of the rest of our east and southeastern counties now in that watch area. And if you are south and east in areas like Limestone, Freestone, Anderson, Henderson counties, Navarro, Van Zant, your watch goes until 1 a.m. Now, I believe this activity will be out of your area before 1, but your watch itself is going to be a lot longer than those around the I-35 corridor because it's going to take longer for that cold front to move through the area. Once the front moves through your area, expect your severe threat to come to an end. And you'll know pretty quickly when that threat comes to an end by the change in wind direction. Winds are gusting out of the north close to 35, 40 miles an hour back behind our front. At this point, hail and the damaging wind threat still the greatest concern. Our hail core moving into Talty right now. So along I-20 and northward and from really I-20 to Highway 80 is where we have that hail core. This is moving due east. So around Talty, if you're in the area of Terrell, in and around Terrell, that hail core is going to be moving up towards your region watching here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. That means potentially $half will be possible. At this point, we have not had any observations greater than that, so that is good news, but that it can still cause some damage here. Back behind that, we still have a very intense thunderstorm cell that's moving along I-45 and along 175. This as well capable of large hail, damaging winds. Our cold front, while these are not severe, it's still raining in areas that have already had several inches of rain. So the flash flood threat continues for a good portion of Tarrant as well as Dallas counties. And don't want to forget our folks in Ellis County. Notice Johnson no longer in the warning. Good news there. We've seen a little bit of weakening with our thunderstorm. The bulk of the more intense precipitation is along 287 and points southward. This is going to move pretty much over Lake Bardwell and eventually head into areas like Ennis and Alma.
I just grabbed another photo. If you can switch it to Weather Source 1, Allie, that's some of the storm damage. Some of the first damage photos that I've seen, that's in Fort Worth. Steve Lord shared that picture, and you can see an entire section of that brick wall that collapsed with no doubt some very high winds that pushed through that area as the storms were pushing through Tarrant County a little bit earlier this afternoon. Let's show you the radar here, and once again, let's expand the view, if you would, Allie, and show all of North Texas across, at least at this point in time. You'll have to switch sources on there if you would, and show the radar here. Severe thunderstorm warnings remain in effect for Dallas County, eastward through Rockwall County, into southern Hunt County, and northern Kaufman County. Couple things going on. These are our individual storms. Some of them are still showing signs of rotation ahead of the cold front itself. Here is the line of storms that's developing along the cold front. That stretches from roughly Coppell now into East Fort Worth. Once that front pushes through, the winds will turn to the north. Temperatures will drop several degrees in a matter of minutes. Winds will be quite gusty as well, and that will end the severe weather threat. But until that front moves through, we'll continue to deal with the potential of severe weather for this evening. So let's go for a closer look here up around the Lake Tawakoni area, where we've got more than likely not only torrential rain falling, but hail falling down with that rain as well around the Quinlan area into West Tawakoni here. Cloud-to-ground lightning strikes just over the last 5 or 10 minutes. These have been prolific producers of lightning here. Let's slide a little bit farther to the south and west there. There's some definitely impressive hail around the Talty area. I think we could see at least $half sized hail there, maybe up to the size of golf balls or ping pong balls. This is right around Highway 80 into Talty, and this will be moving towards the Terrell area here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So there could be the potential of some damaging hail heading in your direction there in Kaufman County. Let's head farther west into southeastern Dallas County, Balk Springs, the Mesquite area, Seagoville. Don't see hail quite as impressive, but certainly there still could be some dimes, pennies, and nickels falling from this part of the storm here as it heads to the southeast of Dallas. There's our final band of showers and thunderstorms developing along the front that extends now from Carrollton to Irving to Arlington to the Forest Hill area. This has not gone severe. One of the things working in our advantage is the cold front is going to quickly undercut these storms, and that will mean that we really won't see any potential of any tornadoes or damaging winds. Still could get some hail in that type of case, but the severe weather threat, even with these storms, will likely be short-lived. They're not warned for right now, but we'll continue to monitor those. We still have the cell here southeast of Waxahachie in Ellis County. This is the one with the history of producing large hails that move through Johnson County and likely producing, again, pocket change hail here, quite a bit of torrential downpours and some cloud-to-ground lightning. And still, this is one that's been producing a lot of these cloud-to-ground lightning strikes where there's no rain falling at all. So if you hear thunder where you are, you could be a potential lightning strike. There's another cell developing around the Itasca area in northern Hill County. That one is ahead of the cold front, so we'll have to watch that one closely here to see if it continues to strengthen over the next 5 to 10 to 15 minutes. But the most impressive hail falling right now well is the one right there in northern Kaufman County, right along Interstate 20 here. But really between Interstate 20 and Highway 80 is where we're seeing that hail core, and that is going to be heading generally east towards Terrell and Oak Ridge in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Damaging hail likely falling with that portion of the storm right now. You are under a severe thunderstorm warning there in northern Kaufman County. Allie?
Now, Dan, I'm going to switch sources just for a moment so we can see how strong the winds are back behind our cold front. Gusting to 40 miles an hour. There is a wind advisory in place. So once that wind shift takes place, your severe weather threat is non-existent, but that strong wind is not going anywhere for the rest of the evening and much of the night. We're expecting these very strong winds to continue. So we can tell that Granbury, Denton, Gainesville, you all have that northerly wind component, but Hillsborough, Dallas, Corsicana still has that south wind where the front hasn't moved through just yet. So unbelievable winds, not just with our thunderstorms, but now also back behind our cold front.
Yeah, and some of the highest wind gusts you may see could be with the actual front itself. And behind that front, we were gusting to 45, as we just showed there in Denton. Severe thunderstorm warnings outlined in yellow here. That includes much of Rockwall County, southern portions of Hunt County, a good part of Kaufman County right now, and now as far east as Wills Point in northwestern Van Zandt County. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning, and these warnings stretch back into eastern and southeastern Dallas County. That's a flash flood warning outlined in green. We have already seen reports of at least a couple of high water rescues. We showed you one that was just after it had occurred, but the car itself was still stranded in floodwaters here. And some of these areas now in Tarrant County and northwestern Dallas County, this is literally round 3. So there have been 3 storms that have produced very, very heavy rain that have tracked over these areas, and there's certainly going to be a problem with standing water on roadways and flooding in low-lying areas for at least the next couple of hours. That flash flood warning goes, I believe, Allie's until 8:15 this evening. And we've got the severe thunderstorm warning down here for Ellis County as well, with some hail, probably up to the size of $50 falling on the southeast side of Waxahachie right now, heading towards the Ennis area. Let's zoom into this one here to our southeast right now. The severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for places like Palmer and Ennis and Bardwell over towards the Alma area, and that stretches back on the south side of Waxahachie. Some of the larger hail likely falling where we're seeing the darkest red colors. Not as impressive as when it was moving through Johnson County, that's for sure, but still could see up to the size of $50 as it's moving in an easterly direction here. Going to be crossing over I-45 over the next 10 to 15 minutes. The most impressive hail falling right now is north of Kaufman here, just near the Terrell area, just west of Oak Ridge. So if we do see some damaging hail, that's likely being experienced where you're seeing these purple colors right here. This is Interstate 20. There's Oak Ridge just to the southeast of there. So this hail core is going to be moving right along I-20 in Kaufman County over the next 10 to 15 minutes. And look at all the cloud-to-ground lightning that's occurring ahead of the rain itself. We're getting these cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. Looking farther northward here up into Hunt County, storms not quite as intense now, but still they are producing some gusty winds and at least some small hail around the Lake Tawakoni area. These are going to be moving eastward into Rains County over the next 10 to 15 minutes. But back to the west, we can finally show you the back edge of all of this activity right now. That's this line right here that extends from roughly northern Dallas County through Irving and Grand Prairie into southeast Fort Worth. That's our cold front. That cold front will continue to generate a line of storms as it moves off to the east and southeast. But the good news is that once the front moves through, winds will turn to the north. They may gust to 45 miles an hour. We're seeing that right now in Denton. Temperatures are going to drop off very quickly as well. We are back now in the very heavy rain. This is Grand Prairie, heading on Interstate 30, heading westward. We showed you the same shot about 15 minutes ago. We were in the clear in between two storms, but we showed you the dark clouds lurking in the horizon, and they are driving right through that storm now. That's the way it looks like on radar. That's the cold front continuing west on I-30 in the direction of Fort Worth. Skies will clear out again behind the front itself, and it will turn much cooler. We have had 80-degree temperatures ahead of this cold front this afternoon. And behind it, temperatures drop into the low 50s. Look at that. It's still 81 in Stephenville. 82 at this hour in Granbury. Meantime, it's 50 now in Gainesville, so it's 30 degrees cooler there and only 53 in Bowie. And this is what we're going to be dealing with now for the next probably 4 days here in North Texas, is much cooler weather and very strong gusty winds, not only tonight, but right through tomorrow as well. But we need to get through the potential severe weather first, and we still have that threat that will continue for the next few hours here. There's a look at our most intense storm. It's centered right in Kaufman County right now, right around the Terrell area and Kaufman itself. It is producing some very large hail. Allie, you getting any reports from the chat session about how large this hail could be? It's got to be at least $50.
It has to be at least $50, but it could be as high as golf ball sized hail. No official confirmation, but we're likely getting a bunch of quarters and $50, maybe just a few golf balls coming out of this. And it continues to be the most impressive storm right now, as well as the damaging wind threat still remains. It could be as high as 60, maybe 65 miles an hour coming out of this, Dan.
Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't had any reports well, I shouldn't say that. We've had only sporadic reports of some wind damage. I showed you the photo there from Fort Worth. The winds obviously were strong enough there to knock down a portion of a brick wall outside, not of a home, but one of those brick walls that you see on the outside of subdivisions. There you go. That was sent to us by Steve Lord, and that was as that big storm came through Fort Worth with the very large hail, and obviously in that case some gusty winds. Although notice the trees around there weren't impacted that much. There's our storm in Kaufman County with the large hail and putting on quite a cloud and ground lightning show as well. Severe thunderstorm warning continues there. This is our most intense storm at this point in time. Let's expand the view and show you that things really quiet down as you head north and west of Fort Worth. It's pretty much now all over with if you live north and west of Fort Worth. The cold front has pushed through these areas. Temperatures have turned much cooler with those strong gusty winds. Some showers and storms up to our northeast and bottom. Not too concerned about these because they are developing kind of on the backside of the cold front right now. Certainly won't see any potential of any tornadoes with this or really damaging wind gusts. They may still produce some small hail, but still plenty of activity continuing south of there. Lake Tawakoni, just west of Wills Point right now. Terrell, Oak Ridge, Kaufman, all seeing some heavy-duty thunderstorm activity now. It is continuing to move due east right along Interstate 20 here. You folks in Van Zandt County haven't seen much in the way of any strong to severe thunderstorm activity yet. But this storm is next coming in your direction. So we'll likely see, I think, that severe thunderstorm warning expanded farther east to include more of Van Zandt County as that storm continues to chug along Interstate 20 there. Down to the south, we still have the storms in Ellis County producing some smaller hail. Still could be up to the size of quarters and $50 around the Ennis area and back west of there. But don't see any of the large golf ball size or larger hail that it was producing when it moved through Johnson County, in particular the Cleburne area. I saw many photos from our viewers in Cleburne of some of that large hail when it moved through there. And obviously you folks earlier today in Mineral Wells and Weatherford got hit with some very large hail in addition to what we saw in Cleburne. Allie?
So the back edge, Dan, we've seen more thunderstorm development now along the southern extent of this cold front moving through Johnson County. Not severe at this point, but still producing tremendous amounts of rain, some lightning as well. So Godley, you are on the northwest side of the front, your severe threat over. Same goes for areas like Granbury and Weatherford, but out ahead of it, Cleburne, Alvarado, you've already had a fair amount of rain and wind and hail. There's at least some small hail potential remains along our front, but this is not severe. You're just getting another round of very heavy rain with it, and that front will continue to move through Johnson County. It's almost out of Tarrant County, far southeastern Tarrant, Arlington, Mansfield. You got a little bit longer. It continues to move through Dallas County from Irving to Dallas northward, and then also notice Denton County. We haven't mentioned you a whole lot today. Relatively quiet right now. That front has already moved through your area, so your severe threat is coming to an end. We still have to discuss, oh, here we go. It looks like an extended thunderstorm warning here. So our new thunderstorm warning for winds up to 65 miles an hour and up to golf ball sized hail. It was extended eastward. It includes all of Rains County and a good chunk of central and northern Van Zandt. So Canton, Van, north to Grand Saline, Wills Point, north to Emory, all of Rains County within that new thunderstorm warning. That warning goes until 7:30. It's for the damaging wind and hail threat, and we can still see on radar where that hail indicator, that hail core, that bright magenta purple color. This is over Oak Ridge, moving right along Interstate 20 as well as Highway 80. The center of Terrell now on the back end of that hail core, so your hail size coming down very quickly. But if you are out ahead of this, be prepared for the wind gusts to increase and that hail size to increase as well. We'll do a storm track where that core is.
Yeah, I can tell you, Allie, just looking through some of our emails here again, Jessica Cruz just sent us a video of the hail coming through the Terrell area, and boy, it's covering the ground there. And she's got a pond in her backyard, and you can see the splashing water coming up, and that looks like they had perhaps up to golf ball sized hail there. So definitely that was quite a hailstorm coming through Terrell literally in the last 5 to 10 minutes.
And still capable of producing that golf ball sized hail. It looks like just had a report of golf ball sized hail south of Terrell reported by Kaufman Emergency Management. So now not only are we seeing video and pictures, but ground truth from emergency managers in Kaufman County. So that storm area where we've got the larger hail in Cobb 647, Wills Point by 656, Grand Saline 724, and the area of Golden by 734. I don't see this really losing that much intensity. Winds may still gust close to 60 to 65 miles an hour within that area as well. Let's head south quickly here. If Waxahachie may Pearl, while you're still officially in a warning, that's going to expire here pretty quickly. So expect that more intense rain to be in far eastern and southeastern parts of Ellis County. We see that over Ennis currently. We'll let you know that our thunderstorm warning for Dallas County has been canceled. So around the Metroplex, we have a flash flood warning continuing until 8:15 for parts of Dallas and Tarrant counties. We've already had several inches of rainfall in a few of these in the warned area. So we really still don't want you to go out if you don't have to. It will take several hours for that water to run off. Our thunderstorm warnings that we have in effect continue for Ellis, northern Navarro, western parts of Henderson, a good portion of Kaufman, as well as Van Zandt and Rains County. So a couple pockets of severe weather remain in place with that cold front catching up pretty quickly. The faster our front moves, the better chances your severe threat is going to end pretty quickly. And this is some amazing video, Dan, that you put up.
Yeah, I just got that. That's Jessica Cruz in Terrell. So this was literally the storm that came through there in the last 10 to 15 minutes. That's the splashing in the actual pond there that I'm talking about. And that's some pretty impressive hail still coming down there, up to the size of golf balls. Now, the majority of it is probably a little smaller than that, but that is damaging hail that was just coming through there over the last 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you, Jessica Cruz, for sharing that video clip. We always appreciate that. This is what it looks like on radar right now. Well, actually, there's another. That's Fort Worth. This is a prime example of what we're talking about. Another car stranded in the roadway there in Fort Worth. Yes, the storms are over with now in Fort Worth, but the flash flood warning remains in effect until 8:15. So still another hour and a half or so away from expiring. Several inches of rain has already fallen there. The damage has been done, and we're going to continue to see standing water on many area roadways in not only Tarrant County, but parts of Dallas County as well. In some cases, they've been hit repeatedly by storms, 3 rounds of storms today. So there's the flooding in Fort Worth. Here's our radar in the top left portion of your screen. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings that continue for Kaufman County, for the northern half of Van Zandt County, southern Hunt County, and also northwestern, actually much of Rains County now under a severe thunderstorm warning. And more warnings stretch to our south. The core of this storm is located right over the Ennis area. That's where we're likely seeing at least quarter-sized hail, maybe up to the size of $50, especially where we're seeing some of these brighter red and purple colors now. In fact, it could be getting a little bit larger than that again, maybe up to the size of ping pong balls here. That's going to be moving right across the lake there around Bardwell, the Bardwell Lake, and torrential downpours stretching east of there across Interstate 45 and the Ennis area, likely slowing traffic down quite a bit. Northeast of there are more impressive hail that came through the Terrell area is now dropping through Oak Ridge. So that same video clip that we showed you, well, that's what's going on right now in Oak Ridge, where we could be seeing up to golf ball sized hail. And this storm continues to move east-southeastward. It will be pushing into Van Zandt County here probably in about 10 or 15 minutes. So right along I-20 there, not safe to travel. Let's say you're in Canton right now, heading westward. I would not advise travel in that direction with that storm heading in your direction. Back west of there, we still have a band of thunderstorms. This is along the cold front itself that stretches from Garland and Dallas towards Joe Pool Lake, Mansfield, the Alvarado area. These are sub-severe, but they are going to produce one more round of brief, heavy downpours that could just kind of exacerbate the flooding problem that we're already seeing in parts of the Metroplex here. And this line pretty much ends things. Once it goes through, your severe weather threat is over with for the rest of the night. Then the winds will shift to the north. They're going to gust to 40, maybe 45 miles an hour. And temperatures are going to drop quickly. We've got 80-degree temperatures in some cases ahead of this front. Behind the front, temperatures are in the low to mid-50s, about 30 degrees cooler. And that's the chill that we're going to be dealing with later on tonight through much of tomorrow as well. But for now, we still have the threat of severe weather that will continue. The good news is none of these storms are producing any organized areas of rotation. Our primary concern remains to be large hail, which in a couple of instances still could be up to the size of golf balls, and damaging wind gusts. Now, those damaging winds have been very isolated in nature, but they still in some cases could produce up to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and we've seen at least a little bit of damage so far in parts of the area, namely Fort Worth, some damage there. Most of the pictures, though, that are flooding in to our email accounts here are hail and very heavy rain with these storms. Allie?
So we're still monitoring the situation here, Dan. Our 2 severe thunderstorm warnings continue for winds up to 60 miles an hour and potentially golf ball sized hail. Recent report of ping pong that was in Terrell along I-20 at an exit. Now that cell has moved away from Terrell, but will continue to pose a hail threat as it moves eastward into parts of Van Zandt County. Hail a little bit smaller as we head into areas like Ennis, and that will continue to spread east as well. So we'll keep monitoring this throughout the evening hours. Our tornado threat at this point low in this area within these storms. If you notice areas north and west no longer in the tornado watch, it will be our far east and southeastern zones for several more hours that will keep that watch in effect. But right now we do not see any major rotation in these thunderstorms.
And with that in mind, Allie, we're going to break away from our coverage, at least for the time being, If these storms begin to rotate again, if we see another tornado warning issued, obviously we'll rejoin our live coverage. But for now, we're going to pause it here. We will continue to keep you up to date on social media. Stay with us on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll continue to post frequent radar updates and let you know what these storms are doing. But that tornado threat now has really lowered across the area. And with that in mind, we're going to take a break from our live coverage. But stay with Fox. We'll continue to keep you forewarned throughout this evening.
This has been a Fox 4 Warn Weather Alert. Stay with the news leader on air, online at fox4news.com, on Twitter at Fox 4, and on the WAP, Fox 4's weather app.
Yeah, I forgot about these topicals. I was trying to get out of here, and I got something to do. Got halfway out and thought, these topicals would be my first time on TV, first time for my face. We should cover them just for heck of it. Okay, we ready? Can you hear me? We good to go? No problem. Okay. All right. 3, 2. Floodwaters caught some drivers by surprise as severe weather hit the Metroplex and heavy rain with, 3, 2. Floodwater caught some drivers by surprise as severe weather hit the